crackdown on vaping. Michael Packy has more.
The Albanese government is proposing to strengthen laws on all e-cigarettes, imposing new controls on their importation, contents and packaging. The Commonwealth will work with the states and territories to stamp out vaping. Health data suggests people who vape are 3 times more likely to take up smoking. One proposal to tackle the issue: vapes may soon be banned from retail outlets such as convenience stores. People would still be able to buy low nicotine vapes for therapeutic purposes, but only if they're prescribed by a doctor.
Pharmacists claim there will be a shortage of more than 150 medicines as a result of federal government changes to the PBS. Patients will be able to purchase 60 days' worth of prescription drugs using one script. The federal government has accused community chemists of exaggerating supply issues. But Pharmacy Guild Vice President Anthony Tassoni says the policy will have unintended consequences.
Of the medicines that have been listed to be suitable for 60-day dispensing, 158 products are currently in short supply from that list. That can include things such as Zoloft as an antidepressant.
Local foodies are crediting Jock Zonfrillo with making SA a culinary force again. The celebrity chef had several eateries here before finding fame on MasterChef. There's been a huge outpouring following his death at 46. Close friend and pastry chef Darren Purchase has told 10 his passing is being felt very deeply.
The chef community in particular just cannot believe it because he was such a star. He was an absolutely phenomenal chef, first and foremost, and then, just such a great person.
And it's a busy week in the Wales' household with not only a coronation, but a birthday. Princess Charlotte turns 8 today. Now to 5AA's sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
And it's a very good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with some football. It doesn't look like the incoming AFL CEO is overly keen on the idea of a night or even twilight grand final. Andrew Dillon telling Rowie and Timmy G he loved the grand final being played back in the daytime slot last year.
I think it's hard in footy, things like that on the traditionalists. But I also know you have to be progressive in the decisions you make. But in the end, ultimately, the start time for the grand final is a decision that the whole commission makes, and it's something that gets looked at every single year.
Let's stick with footy and there's confirmation. Xavier Duursma is set to miss around 8 to 10 weeks for Port Adelaide with a knee injury that was suffered against St Kilda on Friday night. Well, a thriller is being played out in the EPL between relegation battlers Leicester and Everton. Everton led 1-0, then trailed 2-1, but has just found an equaliser to level things back up at 2 goals apiece.
Sees it in again towards Calvert-Lewin. Drops for it. Wobbe finds the bottom corner and Everton are level. They've come out strong at the start of the second half and got due reward.
Yeah, certainly have. Audio there thanks to Optus, and there's about 20 minutes to play in that match. Scores still locked at 2 goals apiece. And that is the 5AA sport.
Now the 5AA forecast. Showers 19 today, showers easing tomorrow 18. Thursday a shower or two and 18 and Friday 20. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Test drive the incredible Cherry Emotive 5 today at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away. Go Cherry.
6:05. Good morning to you. Welcome to a Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, it being a Tuesday, we've got our trial by jury after 7:30. Phil Curry in the nation's capital. It's Reserve Bank Day today. We'll find out what, if any, movement there'll be on interest rates. We're going to be talking about great movie themes. The Adelaide Symphony Orchestra have put together another of these fantastic shows where they play the orchestral component and the movie theme live whilst you watch along. This is always spectacular. They've done it with Star Wars. They're doing it now with Harry Potter. We'll talk to them before 7 o'clock today. And then a little bit later in the morning, something that's going to be very unique and a hell of a lot of fun. We're going to catch up with Police Officer Grantley, not Stevens, the Commissioner, the horse. Grantley the horse is going to come and visit us here in Hindmarsh Square. We'll learn a little bit more about the police horses. All the debate in Adelaide's been about where they stabled David Penberthy Has anyone stopped to ask the horses what they think? Good morning to you.
They haven't yet. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. And being the enterprising news hounds that we are, we thought we'd get answers to these very, very questions straight from the horse's mouth.
Right from the horse's mouth.
Sorry, that was the world's most obvious pun. Is it a talking horse? Do we know that yet?
I don't think so.
Like, what was the horse in Greenacres called? Wilbur. Was it Wilbur?
Wilbur. That's Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed, of course. Mr. Ed. His owner was Wilbur. Yeah.
Wilbur.
We're going to get Sam in at some point during the show to do his Wilbur. He grew up watching that show. He loves it. And he does.
Mr. Ed. Well, they put peanut butter on his teeth. That's how they got him to talk.
Yeah. Have we got carrots or sugar cubes?
I'm not sure. They're a bit like the police dogs. You don't shouldn't feed them or touch them. And they're trained animals for pretty explosive situations. I'm not sure they're there to be petted.
No. Well, I don't know. They're a bit different from the dogs, though, aren't they? What is the history and reason for?
Well, they go into riots.
Yeah, they do go into riots, don't they?
They control unruly crowds of people.
They are phenomenally smart animals, horses, aren't they?
Very smart.
Certainly not condoning this. You know, in Mexico, they use them in bullfights. They cover them in armour, and they go out into the ring with a bull. It's the most medieval and macabre thing you've ever seen. But they're tough and smart animals. I don't know if that's still legal. This heritage argument is used to defend some pretty bad stuff.
It's sort of culturally important.
Yeah. Apparently. I don't know. We got taken on a school excursion, believe it or not. Imagine doing that in Australia.
Kids would be legitimately traumatised.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of adults would be too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of trauma, geez, it's hard to get past the Jock Zonfrillo story, isn't it? Just such a tragedy.
It's just truly shocking when I saw that come out yesterday.
Poor bloke. His poor family too, 4 kids. I just don't understand it at all. And the first person I thought of, very comparable personality types, I think, very similar trajectories of life, and they probably would have, I don't know if they knew each other, but the food writer and TV host, No Reservations and Parts Unknown, Anthony Bourdain, who is a young bloke, young chef, had huge drug problems, and then was battled his demons throughout life.
They're rock star chefs in this day and age, aren't they? I was actually thinking about it yesterday. There's a tortured artist element to a lot of chefs,
very much so,
and it comes with the creativity of what they do. But I think the hours and the pressure, and they're sort of the modern version of. The modern version of the rock stars that you grew up with. They're famous. They're all internationally renowned now. If you're a huge chef, you're known across the Jock news is news on every major website around the world this morning.
Yeah, because he's part of that group, and what he did with Arana here down in Rundle Street, which is an absolutely incredible restaurant. I only went there once, and it was a big occasion. It was I think it was a wedding anniversary, but not there anymore, sadly. But that's what catapulted him into that sphere of, your Marco Pierre Whites and people who are synonymous with some of the most sort of high end and revolutionary restaurants in the world. But he was a good, down-to-earth guy at the same time, I think.
The one time I went to Arana here, the chefs would... Because it was only, what would it seat, 20 people? It was a pretty exclusive, small sort of a setup.
It wasn't massive.
The chefs lined up as you left.
Yeah, that's right.
They'd stand at the door.
That's right.
And the night I went there, he was there. And I remember saying something stupid as we walked out. Probably had the wine pairing, so I mightn't have been at my sharpest. And said something, guys, that was just unbelievable. It was incredible. And he made some quip about. Now we hadn't known each other. It's not like we knew each other from interviews or things like that. We had done them, but he made some quip about. Well, thank God for that, because that's what we're here for. And he had this he had that jock sort of grin on his face, and he was chuckling along with his mates. Just looked like a man totally in his element, doing absolutely what he loved.
But at the same time, as you alluded to, there's such an intensity with that work. Like no private life at all, no family life, constant pressure, and even when you were running a successful restaurant, the financial side of it is, I don't, for the life of me, don't understand why people go into the restaurant business on paper. I understand why they do it, because it's about the only field, I reckon, other than journalism, the only thing that I could see myself working in is food, because I'm really, really into it. I think it'd be great fun, be really rewarding. But to make it work, you need to just put a line through all of the things that make life livable, like being at home on the couch at night. You know, you can't do that 6 nights a week. I'd love to hear from people who are actually in the restaurant industry, because I think there'd be a certain sort of, you know, relatability to this, which is unnerving. And look, as we always do, you know, whenever we talk about themes around this, if you are struggling yourself, reach out to Lifeline or any of those organisations. That part of it is the saddest part. I just don't see when you've got kids and, you know, and it's the way people's brains are wired. Like, I've got mates who have been through this stuff and have been in really dark spaces, and those of us who, you know, you're really blessed if you're happy in life, I think. I think that the mistake people make is thinking there's some sort of environmental link to that. That, oh, well, because you've got everything you want, by definition, you're going to be happy, and if you don't, you won't be. Yeah, that's right. I mean, Anthony Bourdain's a great point. Then you brought him up a moment ago. The bloke's job by the end of his life was travelling the world eating good food. Yeah, one week he's in San Sebastian eating tapas. Yeah. Then he's in Oaxaca dining with this new generation of like the highest end Mexican chefs who are doing amazing things with food. Then he's having lunch with Iggy Pop, one of his idols, in Miami. He's a great example for people that just don't get the concept that it's closer to a physical injury than what you might be led to believe. Yeah, it is. It's like having a tumour. It's like trying to think your way out of having a broken arm. Yeah. You can't just convince yourself that it's better. Because the rational argument for happiness, and Scott and I talked about it quite a bit when we did the book, because his battles with anxiety and depression were central to that, and how they ended up sort of infecting his career. And I remember saying to him once, I just feel like, mate, like this, however down you get, there's always another good catch-up with family or friends that you're looking forward to. There's always a date on the calendar. You think, oh, that's going to be fun. And he just said, yeah, but that's a logical way of thinking about it. Exactly. That's almost like a clinical sort of, you know, it's like that's not the rational way of approaching those things isn't what happens when you're in this medical space. Anyway, hard not to talk about. A bit of a heavy topic first thing in the morning, but Christ. I think everyone in town talked about that story when the news broke yesterday, because it's just awful and it's shocking, and it's someone we all knew, and someone who's 46 years old. 8223 is our number as always. If you want to continue the conversation, you can text us as well on the Dutton's text line 0448 08 1395. We'll jump into the rest of the news headlines next.
Embark on a journey of unrivaled excellence with Viking Cruises and Phil Hoffman Travel. Whether it's cruising the rivers of Europe, Egypt or Southeast Asia, Viking offers travellers a wealth of cultural enrichment, culinary explorations and local delights in unparalleled style and comfort. Viking's 2024 and 2025 river voyages are on sale now, with savings up to $6,600 per couple. T's and C's apply. Contact Phil Hoffman Travel or visit pht.com.au.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Wearable tech is a fantastic way to enhance your health and fitness routine and hold yourself accountable. The Fitbit Versa 3 is one of the most reliable smartwatches in the game. It's packed with health and fitness features like 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep management tools, and built-in GPS. Plus, you can receive smartphone notifications and control Spotify when your phone is nearby, and it's water resistant up to 50 metres. It's super easy to use, making the perfect Mother's Day gift for health-conscious or tech-savvy mums. And just in time for Mother's Day, Harvey Norman have a great offer on the Fitbit Versa 3. Save $100 off the recommended retail price and get it for an incredible $198 in black, midnight or pink. This fantastic offer ends May the 17th.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Australia's greatest sporting rivalry is back with the 2023 Ampol State of Origin Series. Witness the game's best players square off in the ultimate fight for state pride as two of the greatest coaches in Freddie Fittler and Billy Slater go head-to-head. Queenslanders' dominant performance last year saw them reclaim the shield, so the Blues will be out to deny Queensland another series win when it all kicks off Wednesday, May 31st. That's right, Origin 1, Adelaide Oval. Secure your seats today at nrl.com/tickets.
Do a deal today at Southern Volkswagen. T-Cross style from $35,990. T-Rock R-Line from $48,990. In stock now for immediate delivery. Hurry, stock won't last. Just 25 minutes from the CBD. Only at Southern Volkswagen. LVD 152780.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry Motor 5 offers state-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
17 after 6 news headlines on this Tuesday, the 2nd of May. You head with Mel at 7. A city street was closed off last night after a bus hit a pedestrian just after 7:30pm. Grenfell Street outside Adelaide Arcade has since reopened after the incident. The welfare of the pedestrian is currently unknown.
We'll probably get more about that from police at 6:45.
Retail outlets may soon be banned from selling vapes as part of new laws being considered by the Albanese government. Labor will allocate more than $200 million in next Tuesday's budget to stamp out the use of e-cigarettes, with proposed stronger regulations around the importation, contents and packaging of vapes. Among the most contentious proposals, the Commonwealth will work with the states and territories to ban vapes from being sold in retail outlets, including convenience stores. People will still be able to use low nicotine versions for therapeutic purposes, but they'll need a script from a doctor.
I don't understand the logic of all this. So they ban vapes from convenience stores. They're going to ban cigarettes from convenience stores? Because all the evidence does seem to be that however sus and dodgy vaping is, I mean, as I said the other day, I've never tried vaping. I'm not advocating for it, but if Britain's hospital system, medical system, is going to say, well, that there appears to be enough evidence that this is less bad than smoking, that they'll actually encourage people to do it instead. They'll provide them with vapes, provided they quit smoking. I just don't understand the logic of keeping actual cigarettes in the stores, yet kicking the vapes out.
It would seem to suggest that the federal government has some evidence that in the absence of vapes, kids won't go to cigarettes, because the concern about vaping is around kids. Now, maybe they've got that bit of evidence. Maybe kids see cigarettes as daggy, but I'd love to know how you can measure that. There's no control group for the absence of vapes where you can sort of determine whether kids are likely to or not to go to cigarettes. It would seem to be one hell of a gamble.
There does appear to be evidence that I mean, it gets you into the stupid attraction of putting something in your mouth and lighting it. If you've never done that before, then some sort of lolly water flavoured version of it might be the way to get yourself into it.
This May, the Adelaide Zoo is celebrating its 140th birthday, and there's going to be plenty to celebrate if you visit the zoo this month. There'll be free entry for kids, historical moments dotted across the grounds, a big birthday party on the 27th of May. Here's Zoo's CEO Elaine Benstead speaking on 9 last night.
When the zoo opened in 1883, there was a whole range of animals. In fact, I mean, we know a lot more now about animal welfare than we did then. But there was elephants arrived not long after the zoo opened. There were tigers, there were lions, there was bears.
Free entry for kids all month's a great initiative. That'll get a whole heap of families going to the zoo.
Save you a bit of money as well. We had a great day at the zoo 2 Saturdays ago. It was excellent. You know what's really good? The new Komodo dragon enclosure. You can check that out. You wouldn't want to get bitten by one of them, would you? Apparently they've got about 300 different toxins in their mouth.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Get him to brush his teeth first.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just get a bit of the old Listerine into yourself. Hideous, mangy reptile.
The Reserve Bank Board will meet today to decide whether to raise the interest rates once again. Inflation has lowered slightly to 7% in response to the recent rate rises. CommSec Chief Economist Craig James says it's possible the RBA will hike the rate once more as it aims to hit that 2 to 3 inflation band?
We think it's going to be very much a line ball call, just as it was last month, and we see the same again, this month. Now, we have seen an improvement in some of the inflationary pressures. We have seen, the inflation rate come down, but we're still talking about inflation rates of 6 or 7%.
All these weird external pressures around the rate rise today. Usually we talk about it exclusively from the purview of where's inflation at, what's the job market look like, all these other sort of factors. Hanging over this is the spectre of, well, how much longer is these group of people going to be actually in charge of rates? Do they have something to prove? What's the future of Philip Lowe? What does he want his legacy to be? There's all these sort of human factors.
Would any of that come into their thinking?
How does it not?
Yeah, well, you think, am I going to go out with a bang?
Well, I'll show them.
I don't think that it would be an overt or conscious way of operating. I think he's got. While he's certainly got his PR problems, I don't think he's a small-minded bloke. I don't think he'd be sitting there going, "Yeah, right, stuff the lot of yous."
Oh no, it wouldn't be vindictive, but does it colour your thinking in terms of, well, they think we haven't been energised enough to get back to the target band, or when you start to react to the pressure to you as opposed to the raw numbers, which is all they've ever talked about.
Yeah, I feel like, and you understand this stuff better than me, but I feel like they will put rates up. I mean, if you've got one job, just to keep inflation down to 2 to 3%, and it's at 7 still, and you've been doing this for a year now, have another crack.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of relief in the labour market either. So signs point to it being possible. They might want to look for a little bit longer because inflation did come down in the first quarter.
And meanwhile, we've got a government that has got none of the ticker to talk about whether there's any way you can increase tax, and no desire to rein in spending.
No.
Sitting there staring at the Reserve Bank going, how are you going to fix this?
Very politically convenient for the government. All the pressure that's been on Philip Lowe, it's got to be said. Works out really well politically. Salisbury Downs much-loved shopping centre Hollywood Plaza is set to have a multi-million-dollar makeover. The $15 million facelift will include the installation of 4,000 solar panels, improved air conditioning, low-energy lighting and water-saving fixtures, making it one of Adelaide's first carbon-neutral shopping centres.
That's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll get them through the doors.
New entrances to the centre will have their landscaping and paving updated. The food court will also undergo a major transformation.
How many things are carbon neutral these days are just marketed as carbon neutral that, in some cases maybe even were carbon neutral to begin with? Would you like a carbon neutral ham sandwich?
Do you mean that's the Mad Men equivalent of that? The very first episode ever of Mad Men, when they're talking about selling cigarettes, and they say they're hand rolled, and the guy says, "Well, they're all hand rolled." He says, "Yeah, but they're hand rolled."
It's a bit like milk-fed veal. Yeah. What else does veal eat? A veal is a calf.
Exactly.
I think milk-fed veal. Well, of course.
I think you're right.
What have they been eating? Burritos?
There's a whole
it's a baby calf.
Of stuff that gets retroactively labelled as, well, look at this. This is now carbon neutral.
That's right.
19 the top today. 2 to 8 mils of rain. So today's going to be a particularly wet day. Tomorrow, 18 and up to 2 mils of rain. 18 on Thursday as well. Maybe a drizzle. Friday gets wet again. 2 to 8 with a top of 20. The weekend's drizzly, but nothing overt. Just cool. 16 the top both days of the weekend. Maybe a mil of rain. And Monday, 17 and 1. This starts to get towards this time of year we look at the overnight minimums. The coolest is Sunday. Sunday morning will be 7. Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast Studio with us to talk sport. Thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Ring.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Boys, we often switch our gaze to overseas sport, and just some interesting stuff sort of popped up that Dave from Alberton actually sort of pointed me in the direction of, and I find this intriguing. Now, we know things change in sport with salaries and, where money's going, and, it goes almost exponentially. But just to, I guess, put it into a bit of perspective, Tiger Woods, we know, and I do this in light of, we've just had the Live tournament. Taylor Gooch won it, and then he won again in Singapore. I think I told you yesterday. So he won back-to-back tournaments. For winning that, he won $9.125 million US. Tiger Woods, his best year, considered arguably the greatest of all time with Jack Nicklaus. In 2000, he won 9 tournaments, including 3 major tournaments. He won the PGA, the British and the US Open. So he couldn't have had a better year.
In the year 2000?
In the year 2000. Now, it is a while ago, so I understand, but he won $9.188 million. So
that is extraordinary.
So Taylor Gooch, for 2 weeks' work, has won as much as Tiger Woods won in 52 weeks where he was
in his
lights
best
out.
year. Probably, arguably the greatest year of golf that anyone's ever played.
Spot on.
Plus also the logistics of that, like all of those tournaments. So it's repeated, sustained effort over a 12-month period, travelling the world to do it.
And it's costing him a lot to do it
Whereas
as well.
Taylor Gooch flew, and there's a direct flight. Everyone knows you can fly Adelaide to Singapore within the space of 5-6 days. You'd made, and US, so it's about 14-15 million Australian dollars.
So, now, David, don't get me wrong. Tiger Woods 9.1 million back in 2000, probably now worth, what would it be, two double that, 2.5 times that maybe. Even so, it's
crazy.
It's eye-watering, isn't it? I mean, Taylor Gooch will dwarf those numbers by the end of the year.
I was thinking about watching one of the footy shows. I think it was one on your channel, Tom, Footy Classified last night. I watched a little bit of that before I went to bed, and they were all talking about players being on $1 million. He's on $1 million. He's on $1 million. He's on $1 million. At some point, that's not going to be the standard sort of what a high-paid player gets. Thinking is about our currency, like the exchange rate and everything else. Like it's sort of convenient that now a really good package for a really good player is $1 million. But at some point, it's going to be live-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, and the average wage, I think, in the AFL now is up, pushing towards $400,000, if you average it out and amortise it across, all of the players' wages. Speaking of players that earn a lot of money, Will, I know you'll be excited for this. I really am as well, and I think the casual fan is too. Steph Curry yesterday already being described as the best Game 7 ever, 50 points.
That's ludicrous.
So 3 all in the series. They're on the verge of getting knocked out, playing on the road. 50 points, 20 field goals. It was just phenomenal to beat the Sacramento Kings. And what that means is it's Steph Curry versus LeBron James now in the next round. I mean, does it get... The NBA must have been just fingers crossed, everything crossed. Please, please. Ratings bonanza coming up now.
It's the absolute dream matchup. Second round Western Conference playoffs. In a season where both sides struggled, and you thought, well, are they even going to be there? Are the Lakers even going to make the playoffs? That was a live question for a while. They're both there, and they're both looking superb now. The Lakers made that preseason trade that changed everything, and Golden State was always going to come good. But Steph Curry, 50 points, most ever in a Game 7. The bloke is one of the greatest to ever do it.
Well,
he had no help in that game. He had to do it.
And almost scored half their points. He's not quite in the same era as LeBron James, but I just had a look. They both won 4 NBA championships, 2 MVPs for regular season for Curry, 4 for LeBron. I mean, LeBron's in the Michael Jordan sort of stratosphere, but gee, Steph Curry's not far away.
He's not far, and he's closing the gap. The amazing thing about Steph Curry is he's mid-30s. He's probably playing as well as he's ever played.
Yeah.
LeBron's nearly 40, and he's still LeBron too. So, there's something about longevity of sports people that we've spoken about. But, maybe the next chapter in their legacies are going to be written this next couple of weeks. If Curry wins, what does that say about him? If LeBron wins, what does it say about him? So it's going to be fascinating.
Well, we'll keep a very close eye on that here on AA, and I know you'll be right into it as well.
Yeah. Loves it. Loves it. Good on you.
Planning tonight to dinner. Already been talking about all this.
Check out Gliderol Garage Doors' new Timberlook Native Series sectional doors. Gliderol.com.au.
It's time to raise the bar. If you're organising an event, anything from a small meeting to a grand gala, you'll know there are many things to consider. So trust the experts at Adelaide Convention Centre to help you elevate your vision. With the support from our team at every stage, you'll be amazed at what can happen in turning each aspect into an unforgettable experience for both you and your guests. Contact our team and discover the magic to elevate your vision at Adelaide Convention Centre.
Always expect the best from Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of designer appliances, which means right now you'll save up to 15% on Falcon upright cookers, plus receive a special 10-year warranty for this month only. Also this month, Miele are offering a 10-year warranty. That's a 10-year warranty on Miele this month only. We can also arrange delivery, installation and removal of your old appliance. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of designer appliances, Payneham Road, St Peters. T's and C's apply.
Gentlemen, is the urge to pee all the time getting in the way of your everyday life? Caruso's Pee Less to the rescue. Caruso's Pee Less is a unique herbal formula that relieves urinary frequency and helps support healthy bladder and prostate function. So, if you'd like to pee less, try Caruso's Pee Less today. Caruso's Pee Less is made in Australia and comes with a money-back guarantee. Available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers and 19 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. Major crash were called to Grenfell Street in the city last night. A pedestrian was hit by a bus around 7:30. It happened outside Adelaide Arcade. The federal government is proposing to strengthen laws around e-cigarettes in a bid to stop people vaping. More than $200 million will be allocated in next Tuesday's budget to impose new import controls, reduce nicotine concentration and restrict the number of available flavours. The government will also work with states and territories to ban the sale of vapes from retail outlets such as convenience stores. $400 million will be put toward a new scheme to boost the number of Defence Force workers. Zach De Silva has more.
Defence personnel will be offered $50,000 to stay in the ADF for another 3 years once their initial service period wraps up. The measure's in response to a landmark report which has found the military has a workforce problem. New data shows as few as 3,000 people have joined ADF ranks over the last decade. The scheme will kick in from 2024 and be reviewed after 2 years to ensure it's working as planned. There will also be a review of defence housing to make it more attractive to potential new personnel.
It's the first Tuesday of the month. The Reserve Bank Board is preparing to meet to decide if it will raise interest rates. Most economists believe the RBA will extend its pause for a second month, leaving the cash rate on hold at 3.6%. Telcos are being encouraged to reach out to their customers to make sure they know help is at hand if they can't pay their bills. A new report shows more than a third of Australians aren't aware they can contact their provider for help, with people under the age of 34 least likely to know it's an option. ACMA's Nerida O'Loughlin says the data will be discussed ahead of an industry review.
Next year they're going to be reviewing their Telecommunications Consumer Protection Code, which is the main industry code that provides these protections for people facing financial hardship. So we'll be having a conversation with industry about what they can do to improve their services to customers.
Research suggests employers are becoming more open to hiring older Australians, but there's still a long way to go. Emily Minnie has the story.
Employers have changed what they consider to be an older worker and are beginning to recognise the value they're bringing to the workplace. Australian Human Rights Commission data shows organisations are defining older Australians as people aged in their 60s compared with 2 years ago when people in their 50s bore the label. Older employees are being praised for their resilience and ability to cope with stress, but technology remains a barrier when they apply for a new job. Only a quarter of employers are open to hiring workers aged over 65, and 1 in 6 say they would exclude candidates if they were any older.
Donald Trump touched down in Scotland overnight. The former US president is there to break ground on a new golf course in Aberdeen. And the beautiful people will walk the red carpet in New York today. The annual Met Gala is being held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The theme this year is Karl Lagerfeld. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Attention now turns to finding a new football operations boss at the AFL following the appointment of Andrew Dillon as the CEO-elect. The league's acting general manager of football, Laura Kane, Giants football director Jimmy Bartell and Bombers football boss Josh Marnie are among the candidates. Brad Scott quit the role last year in favour of a return to senior coaching with Essendon. His replacement has been delayed until a decision on the chief executive. Meantime, Crows defender Jordan Butts admits the side is bitterly disappointed with the 1-point loss against Collingwood on Sunday and believes the reason for the fade-out in the final term is pretty simple.
We controlled the game reasonably well for most of the game. Just a little bit of polish in our forward half was probably what killed us a little bit, and obviously our fourth quarter, I reckon we went away from our game plan a little bit.
Meantime, Finn Callaghan has been awarded the Rising Star nomination for round 7 following his 26 touches for GWS against Sydney on the weekend. To soccer, Matildas stars Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford have had their Champions League dreams crushed, with Arsenal going down to Wolfsburg 3-2, missing out on a place in the final. Meantime, it's full time in the English Premier League clash between Leicester and Everton, the sides playing out a 2-2 draw. The result lifts Leicester out of the relegation zone on goal difference, while Everton remains in 19th spot, just 1 point behind. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, 19 today and showers. Showers easing tomorrow, 18. Thursday, a shower or two and 18, then up to 20 on Friday. Right now, it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
The store-wide savings spectacular is now on at Specsavers. Get any pair with standard multifocals for just $199. Choose from all the frames and all the big designer names, like Tommy Hilfiger, Country Road, Ted Baker, Carlos and Patty, and more. But don't miss out, limited time only. So to save on multifocals, should have gone to Specsavers. Conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Test drive the incredible Cherry Emotive 5 today at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away. Go Cherry.
Twenty-three minutes to 7, police and weather coming up this half hour on the show. Speaking about the proposed bans to vaping federally that the Albanese government is considering, an interesting tidbit and some the Fin Review reporting I was reading during the break. Vapers 3 times as likely to take up smoking, which won't surprise anyone. You made that point earlier, but this is the bit that I think will change some views. That is the explanation according to the government why, and I wasn't aware of this. Under 25s are the only cohort in the community where there is an increase in smoking rates.
So it's getting them into it.
So, as it currently stands, under 25s are the only people in Australia who are increasing in how many smoke cigarettes, not vape, how many do cigarettes. And the government believes that the vaping is the reason for getting them there.
On the Duttons text line, Nick, listening from Perth. Well, it's going to be 28 today. I was hoping some of that weather would come our way. Sadly not. Nick in Perth says the only reason the federal government want to restrict vaping is that it's addicted to the punitive tax revenue from cigarette sales. That's not a bad point, Nick. Thanks for that. Also, one here, Bob says, good morning to the breakfast crew. Vaping should be outlawed before it gets to become another key ingredient of emphysema, which is a cigarette self-inflicted condition that I am now enduring. The human body is simply that. It is not a factory with an exhaust vent known as a mouth. Thanks for sharing that, Bob.
Wonder how many of our listeners got caught up with bus timetable changes yesterday. The Adelaide Metro website had details of every bus service that got changed. There was over 300 of them. One brief moment before the show yesterday, Lisa and I thought we'd read them all out until we looked at how many there were. That
realised
said,
the show would have gone for 5 hours.
Exactly right. We realised there was on social media a lot of people that got caught up with it. If that was you and there was a change that caught you out, we'd love to hear from you this morning on 8223 0000 or text us on the Duttons text line. The other thing we're being told about, and we'll do Fuel Watch comprehensively a little bit later, petrol over $2 in the east and the south. I'm not sure how much more widespread that is at the moment, but it sounds like it has jumped up significantly overnight. $2.09 in some places in the eastern suburbs. So if you can give us a bit of an early heads up on that, we would appreciate it on 0448 08 13 95. I don't know what the worst job anyone's ever had is, but there are some sort of peculiar ones that are knocking around out there at the moment. Maybe none more so peculiar, though, than the Blackpool Zoo in Lancashire that's advertised for seagull scarers. Seagull scarers.
How do you scare a seagull?
Well, you dress up in an outfit that looks something like that.
Is that like a giant albatross?
You dress up in an inflatable albatross. In fact, you look like you should be working at Disneyland, taking photographs of the small children, but you run around scaring off the seagulls. People had, and this is we talk about, in the context of the RBA, the tight labour market. People have applied for this job to the Lancashire Zoo from as far away as Australia, India, Uganda and Ukraine, according to the BBC's reporting. There have been applicants that sent pictures of themselves dressed as birds. There are 5 positions at the zoo available for £10.80 an hour.
Are they tiered positions? Like, do you get to become the sort of senior albatross after you've done a few months as the assistant albatross?
I'd like to think there's one of the questions you can ask in your job interview is there a pathway to progress my career?
Or maybe you're different birds. Maybe you start off as, just sort of common petrel and then move up to, like a majestic booby, which is a bird.
The zoo has said that those taking on the roles would need to be outgoing and, in quotes, comfortable wearing a bird costume. It is unclear whether the outfit would match the eagle that I just showed you a moment ago.
Is that a recognisable personality type? Have you ever met someone and thought,
I bet
he looks like the sort of person who becomes wearing a bird costume?
The advertisement for the job reads...
I reckon I would be. I wouldn't mind it.
I think you're a big bird costume guy. As a seaside resort, Blackpool is not short of seagulls. However, the seagulls are proving to be a bit of a nuisance when it comes to trying to steal food from our visitors and our animal enclosures. We need to do what we can to keep the seagulls away from our main visitor dining areas.
Well, what's the Australian application? Maybe what we need to do, we need to work out what is the sworn enemy in Mother Nature of the sacred ibis, a.k.a. the bin chicken, and get people...
dressed up as that.
Knocking around. Yeah, the whole bunch of them at the Live Golf. They just turn up at anything.
Have you ever had to dress up in anything strange for your job? 8223 or text us on the Duttons text line. Have you ever had to wear something weird to work?
I can recall a friend of mine in Sydney, she had to dress up in a burqa for a week and then write a piece about...
Or like investigative journalism.
What it's like being a Muslim woman in Sydney, and the piece was not well received across the board. It was seen as superficial, but I've never had to do anything quite like that. Yeah, I think the most humiliating thing I've ever been involved in, and you and I, we stopped doing it after 1 year, was the FIVEAA so-called celebrity milk-off at the Royal Adelaide Show.
I wasn't around for that.
Oh, you weren't there, were you? You're still doing it.
I came onto the show when you'd already established the rule that we don't participate in anything that has the word celebrity in it.
Because we're not celebrities.
Exactly right.
The word is the most excruciating word in the English language.
We're out. If that's in the title, we're out.
If we are, we degrade.
8223 is the number. If you've ever had to dress up for your job in anything bizarre, we'd like to hear about it. You can text us too on the Duttons text line. It's 17 minutes to 7. Police and weather are coming up, and we're chatting with the ASO. Will wore a turtleneck, said someone on the Duttons text line.
Good advice here.
Excellent text.
Yeah, and good advice, particularly with the 140th anniversary of the zoo coming up. Don't go to the zoo dressed as a chip.
Yeah, the Lancashire Zoo, especially. They've clearly got an issue. All right, let's check traffic and when we return, police and weather.
Thanks, Will. Pretty smooth sailing for the roads today, which is great for the drive in. Got a few roadworks you might want to keep in mind. Got a lane out of action this morning at Tennyson Military Road near Trimmer Parade. Slow going for works at Ethelton, Bower Road near Fairfield Terrace. Getting busy at the moment, South Road at Crossroad. I'm looking for cameras this morning. Dunrobin Road at Warradale and Gate Streets at Firle. Order your C coffee on the OTR app and enjoy a freshly ground barista-made coffee. It's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Australia's greatest sporting rivalry is back with the 2023 Ampol State of Origin Series. Witness the game's best players square off in the ultimate fight for state pride as two of the greatest coaches, Freddie Fittler and Billy Slater, go head-to-head. The Maroons' dominant performance last year saw them reclaim the shield, so the Blues will be up to deny Queensland another series win. Ampol State of Origin kicks off Wednesday, May 31 at Adelaide Oval. Unreal. Secure your seats today at nrl.com/tickets.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey, whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny, whether next door means a few feet or a few miles, we know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. Some say strong as an ox, others say hard as nails. We just say built to last. Olympic Industries.
Handmade from Australian pork has to meet Australia's strict quality controls and standards. And while that means us farmers have to jump through hoops, I reckon the taste's worth it. So for true Australian quality ham, just pick a pack with a pink pork logo.
AFIVEAA is giving you the chance to win a $40,000 energy savings bundle. That's up to $40,000 worth of solar panels, rechargeable batteries and more to help you enjoy a more affordable and sustainable future. Purchase an eligible new AFIVEAA comprehensive car or home insurance policy to enter. That's AFIVEAA value. AFIVEAA is an authorised representative of AAI Limited, the product issuer. Read the PDS before buying insurance. TMD also available. Call for a copy. Competition ends 25th of the 8th of 23. Eligibility criteria and full T&Cs at apia.com.au. Permits SA T23/489.
At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we believe you shouldn't settle for anything. You deserve the best. So why settle for an SUV? when you could be enjoying an SUVW. Come and see our range of T-Roc and T-Cross, the small SUVs that are big on features. Don't wait months for your new T-Roc or T-Cross, and don't settle for an SUV when you can own an SUVW today from Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
Breakfast on 5.
As you can watch the film, they've done this with other movies with great scores. We might talk about great movie themes and scores coming up very shortly. We've also got a Barbecue Weber Stores voucher to give away. We'll be chatting with the Symphony Orchestra in just a few moments' time. But before the break, we're talking about times you've had to get dressed up for your job. Pat in Barossa Valley's called in. Morning, Pat.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Back in the day, I've got a fair few years on you, Dave, so you probably wouldn't even know this, but they used to have a disco at the top of the Bar Hotel.
Yeah.
And it was called the Cosa Nostra disco.
Cosa Nostra, as in the mafia.
As in the mafia.
Our thing,
And
Cosa Nostra.
And we had to stand at the top of the stairs in your black pants, your white shirt, black bow tie, bloody black Ferrota, carrying a plastic machine gun.
You're joking?
No, this is on the door there. You know, like the same promoter had the Largs Pier as well.
Oh, that's terrific.
Oh, good job, Pat. Thank you.
What about Samantha on the Foodland Supermarkets live stream? She says, I had to dress up as the Cuddle Bunny at Easter when I worked for Myer. The Cuddle Bunny. Would the Cuddle Bunny pass muster in 2023?
No.
Come here.
The Cuddle Bunny would have to be...
Bring it in.
Have to be flanked by the Consent Bunny.
I wonder if, this might sound weird, but I wonder if Samantha's still got the outfit tucked away somewhere.
Okay, well, you guys take it offline.
I didn't mean that.
No, I don't know what you meant, mate. Frankly, I'm not... I don't want to explore it any further.
Deary me.
All right.
Things have got weird all of a sudden.
They really have. So let's straighten it up and go to the Weather Bureau. Jenny Horvat's the senior forecaster on duty this morning. Jenny, what kind of Tuesday do we have ahead?
Yeah, look, we're in this broad westerly, so showers on and off again today, so not dissimilar sort of to yesterday. We did, it was a bit of a mixed bag with the rainfall around the metro area yesterday. Generally across the plains there were a couple of millimetres, but across the hills it varied sort of from around 5 to 15. In the city we picked up 2.2 millimetres. Having a look at the radar at the moment, there's not too much shower activity around, a little bit around the hills and a little bit around the Aldinga area, but yeah, it'll be a little bit hit and miss again for today in that westerly airstream. We are looking at a top temperature of 19 degrees for today. That is after we saw our minimum temperature of 13.8. That actually happened last night at 10 to 7. And currently it is 15.5 at our West Terrace Nidapira observation site. So for Wednesday, we will start to see those showers clearing during the afternoon. We are looking at a top temperature of around 18 degrees after a minimum of 13. Looks like a cooler start there on Thursday morning, minimum of 10 with a maximum of 18 degrees. And looks like we'll see those showers returning probably most likely later in the day. On Friday, it looks like it will be a dry start. We are aiming for a maximum temperature of 20 degrees. That is ahead of a cold front moving through later in the day, so we will see those showers returning most likely during the afternoon and evening period. Following that cold front, though, it is going to leave us for a cooler weekend. We are looking at maximum temperatures of only around 16 degrees. Still the chance to see a shower or two around, probably most likely in the morning and most likely in the hills on Saturday, so our winds shift a bit more southerly, a little bit more protected here in the city. Maybe just a little bit of morning shower activity again around on Sunday, and by Monday probably just be a little bit of light shower activity at best. Temperatures still only around 17 degrees, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag, and the showers are just sort of on and off, probably just with that bit of that enhancement with the front on Friday, later in the day being sort of the wettest period for now for the remainder of the week there, guys.
Excellent stuff, Jen. Thank you for that.
Jenny Horvat, senior forecaster at the Bureau. There was an incident in the city not late last night, but last evening that SAPOL will have some further details on for us. Senior Constable Peter Williams joins us. Peter, a pedestrian was hit by a bus on Grenfell Street.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Major crash officers are investigating a fatal crash that occurred in Adelaide last night. Just after 7:30, police and emergency services responded to reports of a crash between a bus and a pedestrian on Grenfell Street in the city. Sadly, the pedestrian, a woman aged 68 from Western Australia, died at the scene. Grenfell Street was closed for several hours but has since reopened. The woman's death is the 48th life lost on SA roads compared to 26 at the same time last year. Anyone who witnessed the crash and has not yet spoken to police is asked to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000 or report online at crimestoppersa.com.au.
That's just shocking news, given how high the road toll already is. And Pete, look, on a much, much happier note, though, we're going to be meeting up later this morning. You are bringing one of the beloved police greys into Highmarsh Square.
We are indeed. Senior Sergeant Kellyanne Taylor-Wilson will be on her way down with her pony in tow down to the Highmarsh Square to meet and greet the 5AA listeners, and I believe there'll be some opportunities for some live stream video. So anyone who's listening and wants to learn a little bit more about what the horses do down there and what their role is within SAPO and how we get them and stuff like that, there'll be a horse available for you to all to have a look at. And I don't know if it'll be Mr. Ed style, whether they'll be talking, but we'll see what we can get out of them. Yeah, that's it.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And as Peter said, you can watch along a little bit later when we'll introduce Police Horse Grantley to the 5AA breakfast audience. Thank you for that, Peter. Senior Constable Peter Williams from SAPOL.
Good morning, guys. How are you going?
We're good, thank you, Nicholas. So what's the process? And interestingly, the rehearsal process. How do you sort of line it all up?
Look, it's a very good question, and the best way I can describe it is you've played the game Guitar Hero, where there are lines and little things that you have to line up on a little screen. I basically have to play conductor hero professionally. So I have, as a conductor, a little screen in front of my podium with all these flashes and lines that I use to synchronize the music with the film. So technically, that's kind of all there is to it. And the rest is up to me and the orchestra to make sure we just keep in time and nail every synchronization point.
So is it 100% synchronized? Do you do it faithfully to the film just played live, or do you give it a bit of an extra flourish or play a bit longer in parts?
No, I mean, you kind of you have to sort of synchronize it. Otherwise, that's the whole point of this, because a film doesn't slow down. When there's a big explosion or a kiss or a moment, we've got to be right there with the music, so that as the audience, they basically almost forget the orchestra there in some ways, and just it feels so seamless.
But it's probably a bit like ballet, because historically ballets had live orchestras down in the pit, and you sort of obviously line that up.
Yeah, it has to be the right tempo for the dancers. Similarly here, this needs to be the right tempo for the Quidditch match, or a particular spell or bit of action on screen. And it could be any film: Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter. We do a whole heap of different kind of live film presentations.
Often these movie scores and themes are beautiful pieces of music. I love that. I love the Harry Potter one as well. But are they complicated pieces of music, or are they quite simple?
They're actually extremely complicated. I mean, people often forget that film music is all brand new music, so it's not exactly a bit of score that the orchestra has played many times before. So a lot of these films, the orchestra is playing 2 hours of brand new music, and it's pretty hard stuff. That's pretty modern. It's pretty contemporary. We think of modern films and action films. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the orchestra. So they are quite the challenge for us. And we only get a couple of days to rehearse it and put it all together and make it feel, ultimately quite seamless.
I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think this would be a hell of a lot of fun as an evening for people to get along to. Nicholas, thank you for your time. Nicholas Buck is the ASO's conductor for the Harry Potter series. The Order of the Phoenix concert is Saturday the 19th of August at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. If you want for more information on the Harry Potter concert series, please visit harrypotterinconcert.com.au. Lucy tells me it is International Harry Potter Day today as well. She's a enthusiastic reader of the books and the films as well.
What about this, though? For anyone who would like to get along to the Cine concert on August the 19th, we have a family pass to give away. Call in now to be the first caller through on 8223 0000.
The other thing we're going to do after 7 o'clock today, inspired by this, because I just love this as a concept, because movie music is just, it's a beautiful, and as Nicola said, it's all original music. You know, you've got this, sometimes themes that you wouldn't imagine lend themselves to creating these pieces of orchestral majesty that stay with you. And what we want to do for the Barbecue Adelaide Web Store's $100 gift voucher is get you to nominate your favourite film score of all time, your favourite film theme of all time, and we'll give someone that $100 Barbecue Adelaide Web Store. We'll take your calls on air at about 7:15 this morning, so we'll do it after our news wrap of the morning.
I've got a really obscure and weird one. You know, one of the Coen brothers' earliest films, Raising Arizona, starring Nicolas Cage.
I can't place the score, though.
It's Ode to Joy, played on the banjo by Earl Scruggs, the guy who did the banjo soundtrack for Deliverance. You know the piece of music. It sounds insanely good, the way it's this super fast version of it with this sort of hillbilly wailing voice over the top, and it fits the movie so perfectly. Filmed in the desert in Arizona.
We've tried to predict a few of that people might be able to say, and we'll play some of those after 7 o'clock as well. It's sort of an ode to John Williams and Hans Zimmer, I think, but if you've got something more obscure, we apologise if we can't play it. But
Hans Zimmer, who's he?
There's a couple. Hans Zimmer has done a whole heap of collaborations with the Nolan brothers often, has won Oscars for film scores. He's sort of, you know, there's John Williams and there's him and a couple of others that are fairly notable.
Kathy in beautiful Malang is off to the Harry Potter concert. Well done, Kathy.
2 minutes to 7. We'll get your movie score favourites in just a moment on 8223 0000. I'll give away that Barbecue Adelaide Webesaw voucher, and then we'll take you through the news of the morning.
Every 30 minutes, one Australian loses their life to heart disease. But it takes less than 30 minutes to know your risk. With Heart Week happening now until the 7th of May, you can take 3 simple steps to keep your heart healthy. Get your blood pressure measured, go online to calculate your heart age, or book a heart health check with your GP. Learn more today at heartfoundation.org.au/heartweek.
The 7-seat Kia Sorrento, Kia's most awarded large SUV ever. Unlike any other SUV in Australia, the unrivaled Kia Sorrento is available in diesel, petrol, hybrid and plug-in hybrid technologies. The Kia Sorrento, awarded and unmatched like no other 7-seat SUV. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or visit your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
So many lives are impacted by breast cancer. It's never an easy thing to face, but Calvary SA's recently expanded breast and endocrine service is here if you need it.
Now, it can be helpful to understand your risk factors with a family history review or just to have suspicious lumps checked. Calvary's expert team offer quality patient care tailored to individual needs to help you through your entire journey.
They will guide you through every step, and together with service providers on site, you can rest assured that you're in good hands.
If you have breast concerns, ask your GP for a referral and get access to immediate appointments with experienced medical specialists. Just search Calvary SA Breast and Endocrine Service for more information. Available at Calvary North Adelaide Hospital and Calvary Central Districts Hospital in Elizabeth Vale.
UniSuper's low fees and long-term performance put your future first. Awarded CanStar 2023 Outstanding Value. Join at unisuper.com.au. Past performance is not an indicator of future performance. Consider UniSuper's PDS and TMD on its website before making decisions.
South Australia's History Festival is here. All May, let the History Trust of South Australia ignite your curiosity and inspire you to wonder. From ghost tours to gardening, architecture, art and ancient wines. Pick up a program from Foodland supermarkets across SA to explore the talks, tours, exhibitions, dinners, dances, wine tastings and much more. With events for all ages and interests across SA. Connect with the sights and stories that make our state great. Book tickets and find out more at festival.history.sa.gov.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers are 19 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. A woman has died in the city after being hit by a bus. Senior Constable Peter Williams says it happened last night.
Just after 7:30, police and emergency services responded to reports of a crash between a bus and a pedestrian on Grenfell Street in the city. Sadly, the pedestrian, a woman aged 68 from Western Australia, died at the scene.
The street was closed for several hours but has since reopened. The woman's death is the 48th life lost on SA roads this year compared to 26 at the same time last year. Retail outlets may soon be banned from selling vapes as part of new laws being considered by the Albanese government. Michael Packey has more.
Labor will allocate more than $200 million in next Tuesday's budget to stamp out the use of e-cigarettes. Health data suggests vapers are 3 times more likely to take up smoking. Under new laws being considered by the government, there'll be stronger regulations around the importation, contents and packaging of vapes. Among the more contentious proposals, the Commonwealth will work with states and territories to ban vapes from being sold in retail outlets. People will still be able to use low nicotine vapes for therapeutic purposes, but they'll need a script from a doctor.
Experts warn rising interest rates are creating a mental health emergency. New research by the Finance Brokers Association reveals 1 in 2 mortgage holders are experiencing greater stress, and more than a quarter reported tension in their relationship with a partner or spouse. Managing Director Peter White says people aren't just cutting back on groceries.
They cut back on their leisure and social activity. People are really pulling in the purse strings, and whilst they're doing that, around 46% of people have withdrawn funds from their offset accounts if they have one, or their savings accounts, and that includes people who are looking at doing it right now at this moment.
The Reserve Bank Board will meet today to decide whether to raise the interest rate again. Inflation has lowered slightly to 7% in response to recent rate increases. The tributes are continuing this morning for MasterChef judge Jock Zonfrillo. His death also making news around the world, with a mention on Entertainment Tonight in the US. Local foodies say he made a lasting impact on the Adelaide scene with the restaurant Orana. Dust storms in Illinois in the US are being blamed for a number of pile-ups, one involving as many as 80 vehicles. 30 people have been hospitalised. And Aerosmith are hitting the road one last time. The American band, fronted by Steven Tyler, has announced its farewell tour. The band have been together for more than 50 years and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2001. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The AFL's new chief executive has defended having to wait 5 months to step into his new role. Andrew Dillon will take over on October 2, leading to calls for Gillon McLachlan to step aside as soon as possible. But he's told Wide World of Sports it's not uncommon for there to be a long transition period.
Gil and I have worked together for 20 plus years. We've got a great, obviously friendship, but a really strong professional relationship as well. So I'm looking forward to it, but there's plenty to do.
The Crows will train later this morning as they turn their attention now to Saturday's big clash against Geelong at GMHBA Stadium, and the Power will have a light run early this afternoon ahead of Sunday's home clash against Essendon. Speaking of the Bombers, Sam Durham has been suspended for 1 game by the MRO for his dangerous tackle on Geelong's Mark Blixavs. 1 game in the English Premier League this morning with Leicester and Everton playing out a 2-2 draw as both clubs look to avoid relegation. Leicester is now out of the drop zone on goal difference, but Everton is still in it, although they're only 1 point away from safety. The first round of the NBA playoffs have wrapped up with the Golden State Warriors the last team to advance. This morning, rivals Philadelphia and Boston play the opening match of their conference semi-final. The Royal Challengers Bangalore have recorded an 18-run win against the Lucknow Supergiants in the IPL, and Ukraine is boycotting the World Judo Championships over the decision to allow Russian and Belarusians to compete as neutrals. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
Good morning. Roads working pretty well this morning. Simply a few roadworks. Keep in mind, really. Got a lane closed at Manopara, Main North Road near Mile Avenue. Slow going for works at Tennyson, Military Road near Trimmer Parade. And also got those works at Eastwood due to the intersection upgrade. Got a lane closed there, Glen Osmond Road near Fullerton Road. Getting busy at the moment, South Road at Clovelly Park with cameras today, East Avenue, Clarence Park, and Gate Streets at Phil. This May, Bob and T-Marts have great buy 3 get 1 free plus instant cashback deals with 15 stores located in Adelaide. They'll look after you. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast. Showers for your Tuesday, heading for a top of 19. Showers easing tomorrow, 18. Thursday, a shower or two, also 18. Right now, it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on
putting it on, playing Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the 5th Harry Potter film. They've done a couple of these before with other movies as well, and great iconic musical scores with the symphony orchestra praise them live as you watch the movie. But yeah, a hell of a lot of fun. It's spurred a conversation on the program this morning where we've got a $100 Barbecue Adelaide Weber Store voucher to give away. We want you to nominate what you think the greatest film score of all time is. 8223 is the number. We'll play this all this half hour and give away the Barbecue Adelaide Weber Store in about the next 15 or 20 minutes. Andrew in Kersbrook, good morning.
Good morning, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Andrew.
Well, the actual score for this movie is done by Queen, but that kind of the theme song, the movie's Highlander, Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. But the actual kind of theme song was Who Wants to Live Forever, and it's kind of like mid-80s, I reckon. I was still kind of in primary school and stumbled on that movie, which is a little bit odd for a primary school kid. But the soundtrack score is absolutely phenomenal. It's worth a watch of the movie just to hear Queen.
Yeah, right. Excellent. I thought you were going to say Flash Gordon for a while there, Andrew. Didn't know Queen did Highlander.
Thank you, Andrew. Got a text from Rob on the Duttons text line saying Ennio Morricone for the good, the bad and the ugly. Right one.
You only need 2 notes to scare your kids at the beach, don't you? Dun-dum, dun-dum,
absolutely.
Dun-dum, 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 dun-dum. Amazing bit of music, isn't it?
So many of them were John Williams collaborations with Steven Spielberg. We might get to some more of those on 8223 0000. That's the number you can text us to on the Duttons text line, 0448 08 1395. Vinny in Granger's called in. Morning, Vinny.
Chariots of Fire? And good morning, sorry. And good morning, Chariots of Fire.
No, I like your word efficiency, Vinny. Double 0000, the number. We'll get to some more of your calls in just a moment. I want to get you through some of the big stories of the morning. There's a lot to get through too, and a fair bit of it has to do with the money and finances this morning. We are on the cusp of what is a big 7 days in economic news. The RBA meets a little bit later today. We've got the federal budget taking place a week from today, and overnight some news out of the United States that forms a sort of backdrop to it all. US regulators took control of First Republic Bank and sold it to JP Morgan Chase. This is a significant move, and it's significant if you put it in this context. The context. First Republic is the second largest US bank by assets to collapse after Washington Mutual. Now, I don't expect you to know any of these names, but you'll certainly know the occasions. Now, Washington Mutual failed during the global financial crisis in 2008. This is the second biggest bank since that one to collapse. That too was acquired by JP Morgan. This was, but you recall Silicon Valley Bank, Credit Suisse. There has been, and it's been referenced by the RBA in its minutes at the last meeting, concern about some of the what they call the fringe or regional banking sector in the United States and what the flow-on effects of that might well be. It led in part to the pause last time round just to see whether the system was holding steady. In Australia, there's no concern about our banks here, but there is a genuine concern in the United States, and that's a big financial story against which forms the backdrop of a big week.
But isn't the thing that, I mean, our banks were fine during the GFC
Exactly
too,
right.
But we still got clobbered by it.
Economically clobbered.
And the unnerving thing is, I mean, if you compare us to a household, in a fiscal sense, Australia's just, had the equivalent of the world's biggest party and gone on the world's most expensive holiday to pay for all the stimulus measures throughout COVID. So if we had to mount some sort of 2007 GFC-style stimulus campaign, how would we pay for it?
Actually, we're in a better position than we were back then. Our current account deficit and our balance of trade and a whole hope of those other things are actually significantly better than they were in 2007-8. We're in a pretty good position to deal with it. The budget bottom line is what it is.
So we can have another crack, another round of stimulus if need be.
I don't know what that'll do inflationary pressures, which is the RBA, what they're going to be looking at today. But if everything collapsed, I'm fairly confident Australia would be among the best of the countries able to deal with it. To the RBA decision today, it's line ball is what all the economists are saying. If you want to say what's the argument for putting rates on hold again, we'd say, well, inflation is coming down. It was 7.8%. Late last year, 7% in the March quarter. Obviously, they're aiming for 2 to 3, but if it's coming down at that rate, maybe it's going to get there naturally and the heavy lifting's been done. If you want to make the argument for why they need to be raised, you'd say, well, unemployment hasn't shifted. It's still at 3.5%, despite the fact we've had this huge influx of migrants this year. That suggests there's still a huge unsatiated labour demand out there, and that is an inflation driver as well. So it'll be fascinating to see what ultimately the RBA cites as their reasoning a little bit later today, but you'll hear about it on 5AA this afternoon. Speaking of the federal budget, we mentioned that yesterday that a story broke that I think we're going to do some more work on after 8:30 today. Older recipients of JobSeeker will receive higher welfare payments than younger counterparts. The federal budget will announce, according to 7 News last night, increase in payments for what amounts to 227,000 Australians. That cohort are people over the age of 55. The reasoning behind that is because that's the highest number of any age group that are likely to be long-term unemployed, meaning that people without a job for 5 years or more. And the majority of that group, unemployed persons over the age of 55, are women as well. The argument broadly has been about raising the rate. This is sort of a middle ground for a federal government that in a week's time will likely argue, well, this is helping the people that most need it, but it's not financially irresponsible. And we're not just going to go and raise the rate for everybody.
I think it's a really good idea. And I think that there's plenty of evidence that there's older people who get shuffled out of the job market on account of, the changing nature of work, people who perhaps aren't as tech savvy. You think about a lot of the blokes who used to work in manufacturing, in the golden era of the car industry. You think about a lot of the women, particularly women from non-English speaking backgrounds who worked in the textile industry when it was still a growing concern in Australia before all those jobs went offshore. These are people who would do anything for a job, and without wanting to generalise, I reckon there's a significant number of people at the other end of the spectrum who couldn't work in an iron lung, who regard welfare not as a safety net but a hammock, and some of these areas of really high concentration of youth unemployment, they're all sitting around getting stoned. It's just a statement of fact. It's not a disparagement of everybody who is receiving the dole, but it's undeniably true, particularly at a time when how many we are hiring signs do you see in every business around town? I mean, the police, desperate to get new recruits, just as one example. Like, there's so many sectors. Hospitality. I was at the AHA lunch yesterday. One of the biggest things that they're grappling with is attracting people to hospitality, particularly after COVID, because so many people, the sort of casual or unskilled workers went, I can work in a supermarket or at Bunnings, places that are always going to be open throughout COVID. I'm not going to be knocking off at 1 o'clock in the morning cleaning up plates. I'll be home in time to watch some TV and have dinner.
Here's the Finance Minister, Katie Gallagher, talking about it yesterday.
There will be a very significant cost of living package in this budget, and that will be targeted to most vulnerable Australians.
And just finally, some news out of the United States that will and may affect TV viewers, whether you know it or not, in the next few hours. If there's not a significant breakthrough, there will be another writers' strike. There hasn't been one of these since 2007, 2008, where writers went on strike for 100 days. It meant late night shows just went off the air.
From 30 Rockefeller Plaza.
Now those equivalents went off because they're entirely reliant on writers. The writers go off the job, they don't have a show. It obviously has effects for serialised television programs, set-piece TV.
Well, the famous episode of Breaking Bad where Walter White is trapped in his meth lab trying to kill a fly, that was a product of the writers' strike.
Was it?
Yeah, because it had no script.
It was this argument now is over streaming. It's over access to the millions and billions of dollars that are coming through streaming, and the writers wanting a bigger share of the pie. The other thing we saw in 2007-8 when this happened was a huge rise in reality television. Celebrity Apprentice became a phenomenon in the United States. Big Brother as well over there took off because these things they're TV programs that don't require writers. The downside for the writers in this negotiation this time around is that because of streaming, there's just so much stuff around. People won't necessarily notice that they're not working if they're only off for, say, 100 days like they did last time when we're all relying on terrestrial network television. So that is something to watch. There may be a break from the next couple of hours. There may not be, but it will have ramifications for how and what you're watching on TV. 17 after 7. We'll get to some more of your favourite movie scores in a moment. But first, let's check traffic.
Thanks, Will. At Mitchell Park, got a crash on Marion Road near the Dawes Road intersection. Solid delays inbound at the moment. Keep it in mind if you must head that way this morning. Busy also, South Road at Crossroad. Got a lane closed at Tennyson, Military Road near Trimmer Parade. And we are slow for works at Hilton this morning, so Donald Rabbit Drive near Pearson Street, speeds at 25 k's. Cameras, Anzac Highway, Ashford and McGill Road at McGill. It's back to school and the Adelaide Central Market is open today. Shop the best fresh local produce, healthy snacks and lunchbox essentials with over 70 traders under one roof. Adelaide Central Market. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Parcels of land being opened up for development, fast-tracking more land to address the growing housing need. One of the things we'll need along with housing is someone to build them. Do we have enough tradespeople at the moment? Will Frogley, CEO, Master Builders here in South Australia.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a real challenge, Matthew.
Weekday mornings from 9.
We're also competing in a very tight labour market.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Gents, have you got the urge to pee again, even though you only just went? Caruso's Pee Less for Men relieves that annoying gotta pee again feeling and helps support healthy bladder and prostate function. So, if your need to pee all the time is getting in the way of enjoying life, try Caruso's Pee Less today. Caruso's Pee Less is made in Australia, comes with a money-back guarantee and is available from leading pharmacies and health food stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles' famous once-a-year May Mayhem is the biggest and best ever. Spend $5,000 and we'll only charge you $3,800. Or spend $10,000 and we'll only charge you $6,800. That's right, spend $10,000 and we'll only charge you $6,800. Don't miss the biggest and best National Tiles May Mayhem event of all time. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
All right, if shelving's your thing, listen up, folks, because if you haven't experienced the Charmin shelving magic, you're missing out. If you're fitting out a workshop, your shed, or rooms around the home with extra storage, well, forget the flat pack. Go Charmin shelving all the way.
Well, here's the thing we all love about Charmin shelving is that it's all done for you. It is not flat packed, so you're not going to sit there for hours trying to find the part marked A that's meant to fit into the bit C, and then there's a B, and who the hell knows what that squiggly line means.
That's right. Call Sharman Shelving. They'll do it all for you. They'll come out, give you a free measure and quote, and then deliver and assemble it all for you.
Or if you do want to assemble it yourself, they'll give you all the support you need.
That's right. When it comes to storage solutions, everybody needs a little Sharman in their life. 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, sharmanshelving.com.au, or take a look on Facebook.
When you're gone, who gets the things most precious to you? Like your highly valued comic book collection or your 1976 Tirana in mint condition. If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry
Movie themes with the ASO putting on Harry Potter, where they play the music live for you. They've done it before, and they've done it with one that's, I think, numerically got the most entries so far for our question about the best movie theme on the open line 82230000 or the Duttons text line. 3 dealerships, 10 franchise in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. Duttons are easy to do business with, and that's this one. Because the only way to watch them was to keep going back to the cinema. Just a different world. Valerie in Mount Barker, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we went years ago to see the Fellowship of the Ring too. They did that. I can't remember how many years ago it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The ASO?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
But my favourite is the a score called To the Piano, which was a very dark movie set in New Zealand. Yeah, but
very young Anna Paquin won the Oscar.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she won.
My choice had to be the best Western music score is for The Big Country. It was a 1958 film that had Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston in it, and Burl Ives won Best Supporting Actor, and the guy that did the music, Jerome Moss, was nominated for the score. It's an absolutely brilliant score for a Western.
A score. You can place the genre just within an instant. Mike, good morning.
Oh, good morning, David and Will. How are you going?
Good, thanks, Mike.
Look, I had to judge it on how a movie actually affects me. So I had to go with Gallipoli because everything from the Jean-Michel Jarre bits that they're playing, when they're racing each other, right to the very end where they've got the Albanone's Adagio in G minor, where they just stop all the music and all you can hear is him running and his heartbeat, and then all of a sudden these strings start. I mean, even if you're a grown man, if you're not crying, there's something wrong, by the end of the movie.
That scene, Mike, where the officer knows that he's sending the boys to their death the following night and he tells them all to have a drink, and then he's listening to Albanone. It's an incredibly moving bit of cinema, isn't it?
Good on you, Mike. Thank you. Let's go to Woodville. Kay, good morning.
Oh, good morning, guys. Oh, another tearjerker is another one of Ennio Morricone's Gabriel's Oboe from The Mission. a friend had it for her funeral, at the start of her funeral last year, and the Adelaide Town Hall organist did a version of it as well this year. Not as good as the original one. Worth going to see the movie just to hear Gabriel's oboe.
Ennio Morricone, what an absolute genius. Thank you, Kay.
That is a
Graham,
great bit of music.
good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Graham.
Yeah, it's a movie called Amadeus, late 80s, with Tom Dolce, about the life of Mozart.
That's starring F. Murray Abraham, I think, isn't it? Won the Oscar?
Yes, it is.
He's Salieri, Antonio Salieri. Yeah.
That's right. The scene at the end when Mozart dies, a pauper, and he's just dropped into a mass grave, and they throw lime over him, and Requiem Mass starts. Oh, makes the hairs on my body.
I haven't thought about that movie in a long, long time, Graham.
That's brilliant.
There's that great line in it where Salieri says that his curse in life is he's the only one that knows that this guy is the actual genius and he's not. Well, he is lauded as the genius, but he realises as someone who knows music that Mozart's the actual brilliant person, and it sort of tortures him. Great call, thank you. We might take one more. Sue and Milo, good morning.
Morning, guys. Look, this is one of my favourite films ever, and it's probably really obvious, but I just love the Superman theme.
Oh, of course.
On you,
Christopher Reeves. Who do we like for the $100 Barbecue Adelaide Weber Store voucher?
I reckon let's give it to Graham. I thought that was a terrific account of Amadeus.
For everything barbecue, head to Barbecue Adelaide Weber Stores, Jeps Cross and Mile End, and prepare to get lit. Let's turn our attention to sport. Win a corporate box in Adelaide Oval for you and your mates. Visit a Barreau Hotel for more. Last night in the sports show, the boys caught up with the incoming AFL CEO, Andrew Dillon.
What are you going to fix, Andrew?
I'm actually pretty lucky that I'm coming into a seat where I said before that footy's in really good shape. So what I see opportunities though. I think that affordability and accessibility is something that we are, but we have to remain like that. I think the AFLW, we had an amazing effort last year where we played 2 seasons in a year. So I think a revamp and a refreshed season 8 for AFLW is really important. I think depending on how things go in the coming days or weeks around Tasmania, with the great announcement that we got from the Prime Minister, and also the great work that the Tasmanian government under Premier Rockliff have done in providing support for a potential licence down there, Tassie's got to be a priority. And then we've talked about community footy, and I think the AFL competition is really important to me. We want to have strong clubs. We want to have great games. We saw a ripper yesterday at the Adelaide Oval. And one of the things I would look at in the footy department is resourcing our game analysis area a bit more. So wanting to understand and keep ahead of the trends and keeping our game competitive and entertaining.
Good get, only hours after he'd been announced as the AFL CEO, and one of the very first interviews he did was right here on the 5AA Drive Show. Well done by the guys.
Win a corporate box at Adelaide Oval for you and your mates. Visit a Barreau Hotel for more.
Great news for people on the move. Budget Car and Truck Rental have a new location, just north of the city at 354 North East Road, Clemzig. Open 7 days a week. So, if you're moving out or in, taking a load to the tip, or going on a big trip, you can do it all with Budget Car and Truck Rental. 7 metro locations, including their new site at Clemzig. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Australia's greatest sporting rivalry is back. The 2023 Ampol State of Origin Series. Kick off your Origin experience the right way at the official pre-game party inside the pavilion at Adelaide Oval on Wednesday, May 31. Mingle with rugby league legends and enjoy 2 hours of food and drinks. This is the perfect way to start your Origin experience. To book, see nrl.com/hospitality or email hospitality@nrl.com.au.
Adelaide Direct Stationers is more than just stationery. We're one of SA's largest suppliers of tech products, washroom products, PPE, workplace health and safety equipment, office furniture, food, snacks, beverages and much more. We have all your office and business needs in one place, with free next day delivery on orders over $50, plus same day 2-hour express delivery. Adelaide Direct Stationers, serving SA's largest businesses and a preferred government supplier. Visit adelaidedirectstationers.com.au. As a person with disability, are you happy with the support you are receiving? Are you looking for a provider that works with you on your terms? Do you want someone that is there when you need them for support as individual as you are? Whether it's in your home or in the community, Innovative Support Australia is here to support you your way. If you or someone you know is ready for something new, find us at isaust.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers are 19 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. A West Australian woman has died in the city. The 68-year-old was hit by a bus last night. Senior Constable Peter Williams says it happened on Grenfell Street outside Adelaide Arcade.
The woman's death is the 48th life lost on SA roads compared to 26 at the same time last year. Anyone who witnessed the crash and has not yet spoken to police is asked to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000 or report online at crimestopperssa.com.au.
The Royal Australian College of GPs has thrown its support behind the federal government's proposal to strengthen laws around e-cigarettes. More than $200 million will be allocated in next week's budget to impose new import controls and ban their sale from convenience stores. The body's president, Dr Nicole Higgins, says we have to stop people using vapes in the first place.
GPs strongly support any government measures to stop vaping. Our kids deserve better. We don't want to create another generation of nicotine users. We support measures that scrap the colours and the flavours and the single-use vapes.
Pharmacists have written to all federal Labor MPs urging them to rethink changes to dispensing rules. From September, patients will be allowed to access 60 days' worth of prescription medications using one script. But the Pharmacy Guild claims that will lead to a shortage of 158 drugs, including those used to treat diabetes and Parkinson's. The Reserve Bank Board will meet today to decide whether to raise the interest rate again. Inflation has lowered slightly to 7% in response to recent rate increases. CommSec Chief Economist Craig James says it's possible the RBA will hike the rate once more.
We think it's going to be very much a line ball call, just as it was last month, and we see the same again this month. Now, we have seen an improvement in some of the inflationary pressures. We have seen, the inflation rate come down, but we're still talking about inflation rates of 6 or 7%.
Local foodies are crediting Jock Zonfrillo with making SA a culinary force again. He had several eateries here before finding fame on MasterChef. There's been a huge outpouring following his death at 46. Close friend and pastry chef Darren Purchase has told 10 his passing is being felt very deeply.
The chef community in particular just cannot believe it because he was such a star. He was an absolutely phenomenal chef, first and foremost, and then, just such a great person.
US writer E. Jean Carroll has defended her reputation and credibility while taking to the witness stand for a third day in her civil lawsuit against Donald Trump. Lauren Tomasi reports.
E. Jean Carroll has faced cross-examination from Donald Trump's lawyer on her third day of testimony. The writer was questioned about why she didn't file a police report about the alleged sexual assault. Carroll responding, she was part of a silent generation, expected to keep her chin up and not complain. Mr. Trump's lawyer, Joe Tacopina, earlier filed a motion for a mistrial, claiming the judge had ruled biasly against Donald Trump. That motion was denied. Donald Trump himself is not expected to testify in his own defence and has no obligation to attend the legal proceedings.
And the royal family has released a new photo of Princess Charlotte to mark her 8th birthday today. It was taken on the weekend by the Princess of Wales. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
What's happening at Alberton, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, Port Adelaide coach Ken Hinckley's got some selection issues ahead of Sunday's match at home against Essendon. He'll have to decide whether to bring Todd Marshall and Tom Jonas straight back in from injury and suspension, respectively. That's following the club's 4th win in a row. The Power will be without midfielder Xavier Dersmer for 8 to 10 weeks as he recovers from a knee injury. Well, meantime, there's a push for the AFL to hire Brendan Gale as its new head of football operations. The Richmond chief executive missed out on the AFL's top job in favour of Andrew Dillon. Eddie Maguire has told the Eddie and Jimmy podcast Gail would be perfect for the role.
We need somebody who understands the game in that position, and it has to be an exalted position. So I hope that the first thing Andrew Dillon does is go down and hire Brendan Gale. We need Brendan Gale to run football because the rules are going to change because of concussion. But what we don't want to have is somebody who's in there who's a nervous Nelly who changes the game so we don't understand it.
Laura Kane was yesterday appointed acting football operations boss, replacing Dillon. She's among the leading contenders for the permanent role. To tennis, Alex de Minaur has been knocked out of the Madrid Open after going down in 3 sets to Aslan Karatsev. Daniil Medvedev and Stefanos Tsitsipas both progressed in tight 3-setters, while on the women's side, number 3 seed Jessica Pegula also took 3 sets to win her round of 16 match against Martina Trevisan, while number 1 seed Iga Swiatek is on the cusp of winning in straight sets against Ekaterina Alexandrova. And there was one game in the English Premier League this morning with Leicester and Everton playing out a 2-2 draw. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
G'day there. Got a crash to look out for at Mitchell Park. It's on Marion Road near the Dawes Road intersection. Solid delays inbound back to Sturt Road at the moment. Keep it in mind if you're heading that way. Also busy, South Road at Crossroad. Got some works at Tennyson slowing things up with a lane closed. Military Road near Trimmer Parade. Got speeds down to 40 at the moment. And look out for cameras on the drive-in. Raglan Avenue South, Plympton and Sturt Road at Brighton. Enjoy the Mercedes-Benz GLC 200 SUV with savings from $2,900, but only while limited stocks last. Visit a Mercedes-Benz retailer today. T&Cs apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast. Showers 19 today, showers easing tomorrow 18, Thursday a shower or 2 18 and Friday 20. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Test drive the incredible Cherry Emotive 5 today at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away. Go Cherry.
23 minutes to 8. John Blake coming up before 8 o'clock. We're going to meet Police Horse Grantley down at Homo Square after 8 o'clock today. Make sure you're watching the Foodlands Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream to see that.
Named after the Police Commissioner.
Named after the Police Commissioner.
I wonder if they had to get clearance. I wonder if they had to ring the Commissioner's office and say, look, you know, we're doing it as a mark of respect.
Within an instant of seeing the horse, we'll get a sense of whether the people in the police unit like or dislike the Police Commissioner. That'll become abundantly clear. And you too can make that assessment on the live stream when we head down there after 8 o'clock today. Let's head to Canberra to catch up with Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review because there's a lot of news out of the nation's capital, 1 week out from the federal budget. Phil, good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, fellas.
What's the future of vaping?
Oh, hopefully gone. The government is going to announce today, Mark Butler, that they're just going to ban it other than for prescription use. Yeah, they're going to get it back to what it was meant to be. Vaping was actually introduced to help people stop smoking, you know, as a therapeutic thing. So if you want to get off the gaspers, it's sort of like, you know, equivalent to patches or something like that, but it's become something completely different. Basically, it's just a tool to get kids hooked on nicotine now. And I reckon there's not a parent around that I know that doesn't talk about it. You know, when they're standing on the sidelines of the footy match on Saturdays, you know, it's just a scourge in schools. It's really hard to detect. And it's, you know, there's a massive black market. You can buy them on the internet and all this sort of stuff. So what they're going to do today, Mark Butler's going to announce that they're going to sort of throw about $40 million at the problem, so ban the import. Plain packaging can only be sold in chemists with a prescription. So you go and see your doctor, so I want to go out smoking, and he writes you a script for vapes. I mean, you know, like all these things, if there's a demand, someone will supply it, and there will always be a black market. But the aim is to try and, you know, kill that black market.
Do you know, Phil? And look, you know, rightly or wrongly, it's now turned into an industry that probably employs hundreds, maybe even thousands of Australians. There's shops all over town. I can think of there's one down the end of my street. There's
Vape World.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's so many in the city. Yeah. Is there going to be any compensation for these people who are potentially just going to go out of business?
I don't know. They haven't said that. They haven't said yes or no. But look, I would doubt it, Dave. I mean, I think they've sort of probably got, you know, the public on their side on this one. I mean, they're actually, vapes, under the current law, they actually are meant to only be for prescription reasons. I was speaking to Greg Hunt, the health minister under, you know, the previous government, and he brought in these sort of rules, but they've just, you know, but this black market absolutely flourished, and to the point where they are just sold in retail outlets and all this sort of stuff. So it's a matter of just sort of reining it in. But yeah, clearly, it's going to affect some people, whether there's compo or not. I don't know.
It's one of those weird grey areas in the law. I've always found it amazing that marijuana is meant to be illegal in Australia, but you can go down to some novelty store
off
and
your
buy
tree.
off your tree. That was one locally, and buy sort of a 12-inch tall model of the Buddha with a giant pipe sticking out of his head.
Yeah, for my tobacco consumption, exactly. Yes, but look, the vaping is a serious issue because it is. It is just the nicotine in it. I mean, there's none of the elegance or whatever of smoking. It's just a nicotine, isn't it? And they tend to be a lot stronger than gaspers. And I think the stats are that 1 in 3 kids who start vaping go on to smoke, and it's causing us. The rates of tobacco consumption, smoking, is increasing in under 25s, and it's sort of falling off a cliff in every other age group. So there's a direct correlation that you start vaping at school, and they just get you on the darts for the rest of your life. So Mark Butler said, basically it's big tobacco fostering a new generation of nicotine addicts, and it's undermining all the good work we've done on reducing smoking. So they're going to go for it, and I don't think you'd be a brave person to stand in the way politically.
What's your tip for the RBA's meeting later today, Phil? What do you reckon they'll do?
Gee, I reckon, look, and please don't take this as any sort of authority because I have none, but I suspect they may move again. It's a real 50-50 thing. We saw inflation last week had fallen for the year to the end of March from 7.8 to 7. 7 is, while that's a release, 7 is still enormously high. It's got to come back between 2 and 3. Now, there's a big lag effect out there, caused by what the RBA has done so far. We haven't seen the full flow-on effects through the economy, sort of the carnage that's been caused with people trying to pay mortgages and afford to live at the same time. But I suspect, I reckon just on balance, they might move again today rather than give it another month, because before this sort of feeling of it's all over creeps in and people start spending again. So that would be my tip, but, I'm usually wrong, so we'll see what happens.
You're not usually wrong. Only with your footy tipping.
We beat the Waffle side on Saturday night.
Nice percentage booster. Yeah, the buy.
Hey.
It's handy having the 17 West Coast players out.
Good on you, Phil.
They're going to get Ben Cousins back the way they're going over there, the poor old Eagles. Good on you, Phil.
Thanks from the Australian Financial Review. There was a really interesting analysis that was done on 7 last night, about 500 grocery items between the start of this inflationary period and now. There is no rhyme or reason to what goes up and what doesn't. Things like cheese has gone through the roof and come back down again, olive oil, dishwashing tablets, but then things like hand wash and certain other foodstuffs have had, like dairy, that were in the same realm as things like cheese, have not changed at all. Now, some things have had no impact whatsoever.
You mentioned dishwashing tablets. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if our good friends at Mr. Dishwasher, who know everything about household appliances, this might be reckless information I'm about to share.
I'm so excited with this caveat.
So, dishwashing tablets cost about, $80 a box. Easily the most expensive thing you can buy at a supermarket. I'd run out the other day and I had a totally jam-packed, filthy dishwasher. And I was going, I'm stuffed. I'm going to take all those plates and cutlery out, do it all by hand. It'll take me 2 hours. So I grabbed the old Morning Fresh, the detergent.
Squirted it in?
Just squirted it inside, all over the inside of the door. Didn't put it in the little flap hole where you put your tablet. It came out looking like it was crystalline, as if I'd just bought all of the wine glasses new from the local kitchens. Like, it worked brilliantly. And then I thought, well, why are we buying these stupidly designed tablets that have got the little red dot in it, and the engineering that goes into making those tablets, and they all claim that they do something.
David Penberthy's Inflation Busters. You need a YouTube channel.
Spray some Morning Fresh into your dishwasher. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to bug him a dishwasher long term. I'll check with the good people at Mr. Dishwasher. They helped me out not that long ago when I had a problem with my brand new LG washing machine. Did a terrific job.
What was your shortcut you used on that one? Did you spray Morning Fresh?
I did.
Right.
You might have noticed the other day when I came in wearing a hoodie, it was completely covered in bubbles.
You smelt magnificent, though, I've got to say.
I smelt like it'd been soaked overnight in Palmolive.
We're going to try by jury.
You're soaking in it.
Hang on, we got Debbie in South Clinton before we go to our trial by jury. Debbie, good morning.
Good morning, lads. I nearly fell over in the supermarket yesterday. I saw a little punnet of blueberries, which is like fresh blueberries, 125 grams, really small punnet. $10.
Yep.
I nearly fell over.
That's
$10.
$10.
I saw the same thing, Debbie. Conversely, though, at my local Drake's, they had raspberries for $3 a punnet because they're all in season.
I saw raspberries for $2.
If you can shop seasonal stuff, you save so much money. But yeah, $10 for blueberries, and you put a punnet of blueberries in front of any 5-year-old kid.
Well, they'll go in 5 seconds.
It's like dangling a salmon over the side of one of those shark diving things in Port Lincoln. It's like, hang on, I could have sworn there were some blueberries there. I just lost $10.
The Coronation is coming up this weekend. You can watch it on all the major TV stations in Australia. The timing-wise here in Australia, 6:30 p.m. will be the arrival, 7 o'clock the King's procession, from 7:30 there'll be the service. I don't know when we do the chant for Charles.
What time's the Rock of Wisdom arrive?
I think that's early. The Rock comes in early. At 9:30 there'll be the procession from Westminster, and at 10 p.m. There'll be the moment on the Buckingham Palace balcony where they get to be welcomed out by all the people. The Prime Minister and Governor General will be there with a host of luminaries here from Australia,
including Nick Cave.
Sam Kerr.
How is it that you go from singing Big Jesus Trash Can and Nick the Stripper with the birthday party, 40 years later, you're at the King's Coronation?
It's a wonderful world, isn't it? Which brings us to our trial by jury.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
$100 Samtas seafood voucher for someone that's on the jury. 8223 is the number, and what we'll do is render a verdict on a very simple question this morning. Do you care or not care? Do you care or not care? Care or not care about the coronation this Saturday?
We're not answering the question, but you might have got a bit of a sense as to how we feel about it. We got told off by Dave from Angaston, suitably chastened yesterday, for our cynicism about all of this.
This is an opportunity. We can get the sense from the 5AA audience. Do people care or not care? Actually, it's $100. We've got it's the other end of the dining experience that we've got for you. It's a Fruit Chocks mega gift box.
Oh, wow.
So it's not the fish course, it's the dessert. So Fruit Chocks mega gift box, shop local. Check out the Fruit Chocks shop at Glyn, McLaren, Barhandorf and Tanunda. Get calling now. Care or not care? Coronation Saturday night. We'll check traffic and come back with your verdict in a moment.
Thanks, Will. At Mitchell Park, got residual delays from that earlier crash on Malrine Road near the Dawes Road intersection. That's as you're heading inbound. Busy in a couple of spots. South Road at Cross Road, also Main North Road at Enfield. Got works at Tennyson's slowing things up. Lane closed there. Military Road near Trimmer Parade splits at 40. With cameras this morning, George Street, Norwood and McGill Road at McGill. Hungry? Head to a Porto and get the value-packed Bondi Burger box for just $16.95, or grab 5 delicious crispy chicken strips for just $5 for a limited time at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, Katie Bridges here, market lead at 5AA. The Vinnie's CEO Sleepout is back, June 22nd at the home of tennis in SA, The Drive. 2023 will mark my third time sleeping out. I keep coming back to the Vinnie's CEO Sleepout because everyone deserves a safe place to call home, and I know the funds we raise are in good hands with Vinnie's. If you're a business or community leader who cares about our community like I do, don't drop the ball. Sign up now at ceosleepout.org.au.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Now, hearing it's almost end of financial year again can be a bit of a shock to the system, but to celebrate the work wins, recover from the losses and everything in between, because you certainly don't need an excuse to get along to this excellent restaurant, Jarmer's Kitchen has just the thing.
I love Jarmer's Kitchen. Tools down and sharing food prepared by a third-generation chef, Chris Jarmer, is the perfect way to cap off the financial year with your colleagues.
Best schnitzel I have ever eaten anywhere.
Well, they're traditional, proper schnitzels.
Yep, and that includes the late and lamented Double Bay Steakhouse, which was Les Murray's favourite restaurant in Sydney, owned by Hungarians. Did an excellent schnitzel.
Good to know.
Chris Jarmer's is better. Jarmer's is the perfect location for it too, just a few minutes from town. Just there in beautiful Bowden in a renovated old pub with ample function spaces. We had one of my mates' 60th there a couple of years ago. Perfect for sit-down dinners, cocktails, presentations, anything goes, and free parking.
And the food is spectacular, as we say. Well, it's a la carte, canapes. You can tell there's 3 generations of incredible cooking behind every plate.
That's right. It's in the family gene. So get in touch for all of your end of financial year events at jarmerskitchen.com.au. Jarmer's Kitchen, fancy made easy.
It's a frightening thought. But what if you lost the capacity to manage your financial affairs? If you're not at the helm, who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Let New Zealand take your breath away on an exclusive 17-day getaway with Holiday Wonders Mitcham. Fly direct from Adelaide with Air New Zealand and experience the best of what the North and South Islands have to offer, with meals, accommodation and so much more included, and more highlights than any comparable New Zealand trips. Right now, it's our best value ever. Save up to $980 per couple. Call now or visit holidaywonders.com.au. Holiday Wonders, Belair Road, Mitcham.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry Emotive 5 offers state-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Yeah, simple trial, simple question this morning. Do you care or not care about the coronation this Saturday? Because we've detected some sort of competing levels of interest amongst the 5AA breakfast audience. Going to be a big event on Saturday in the UK, but what do Adelaideans make of it? All the jurors remain completely anonymous and everyone is in the running to win a Fruit Shocks mega gift box. Juror number 1, what say you?
Don't care. Not really care about it at all.
Thank you, juror number 1.
You can just hear the
nailed the
ambivalence.
tone. Yes.
Yeah, don't care.
Juror number 2, good morning.
Good morning, and it's, I couldn't care less.
Thank you, juror number 2. Couldn't care less. Juror number 3, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, no, the poor bugger, I care. 72-year apprenticeship, I care for him.
72-year apprenticeship is a nice way of putting it. He's been waiting a long time. Juror number 4, good morning.
Good morning, boys. When I was in primary school in 1982, I did a project on the Brisbane Commonwealth Games. So back then I cared, but now I care 0.0001%.
We're going to round down to the nearest don't care. Thank you, juror number 4. Juror number 5, what say you?
Good morning. I care. I can't wait. I'm excited.
You going to have a party, juror number 5?
No.
Okay, just watching along at home.
Just watching on my own.
Okay, good.
Well, there's a lot to get through. It starts with the recognition, then the oath, then the anointing, then the investiture, then the enthronement/crowning, which is when the Archbishop of Canterbury places Sir Edward's crown on King Charles' head, and then the homage, when historically royal blood princes, the Archbishop and other senior peers kneel to pay homage and swear allegiance to the monarch. It's going to be riveting television.
Rita in Campbelltown on the Duttons text line says, I am interested in the coronation. We'll be watching it. It's about having a sense of something bigger than yourself. It's history in the making. Who do we give the Fruit Shocks mega gift box to?
I reckon let's give it to juror number 1.
Juror number 1, you've got the Fruit Shocks mega gift box. The verdict was a split decision, was it not?
It was 3 don't cares, 2 cares.
3 don't cares, 2.
So a closely run thing.
Sue has tweeted us. Sue doesn't care. I suspect, given the contents of the tweet, where she's pointed us to a chart that is the work of Ange Postecoglou's Celtic side in Scotland. Anarchists, the Celtic faithful,
We don't need
the
to
Catholic
spell out.
tradition in Scotland, sort of fraught relationship with the British monarch.
We don't need to spell out what they were saying. I think
they were suggesting that the coronation could be sent somewhere,
Yeah.
on or in a person's body.
That's right.
All right, let's hand it over to John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg. Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg with another 5AA News Update. Preparations are well underway for the coronation of King Charles III on Saturday. With all the pomp and circumstance that the British do so well, the biggest concern at the moment is with the robes that King Charles will wear and whether he'll trip over them. Seamstresses have been working tirelessly to try to make sure that Charles doesn't go A over T as he's walking up to the throne, which they say might take away some of the dignity of the event. And Australians haven't taken kindly to the idea of the chant for Charles, where everybody watching the coronation at home would be encouraged to pledge an oath of allegiance to the King out loud in their lounge rooms. A lot of people have said, yeah, I'll do it, as long as Lydia Thorpe does it first. In other news, an American reality show called Stars on Mars and hosted by William Shatner is about to start filming in Cuba Pedy. Similar to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, it will feature contestants living in a space station and completing tasks in authentic conditions that simulate life on Mars. Producers wouldn't reveal how the hell they know what life is like on Mars because we've never been there, but it will go to air on Fox next month sometime. When we do finally go to the Red Planet, producers are hoping to film a new reality show on the surface of Mars so they can simulate what life is like in Cuba Pedy. And finally, the new CEO of the AFL, Andrew Dillon, says he's looking forward to growing the game of football when he takes over the reins from Gillan McLachlan in October. He said, football has a great tradition in this country and I'm very pleased to be starting a new tradition, that being that the incoming CEO must have a surname which rhymes with the Christian name of the outgoing CEO. He said, I am excited about this because not many surnames rhyme with Andrew, so I should have the job for quite a while. And that's the news for this Tuesday. I'm Wallace Fogg. More 5AA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
Yeah, more from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Big next hour on the program coming up as well. Breaking at 8 kicks us off straight after 8 o'clock. Then we're down into High Marsh Square to meet police horse Grantley, which you can watch along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Then, after 8:30, we're going to jump into this policy point regarding dole payment increases for people aged over the age of 55 and only those aged over the age of 55. You might have some thoughts. As always, we'd love to hear them. 8223 0000 or shoot us a Dutton's text 0448 08 1395.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey, whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny, whether next door means a few feet or a few miles, we know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. Some say strong as an ox, others say hard as nails. We just say built to last. Olympic Industries.
I got a call from the bank, their usual phone number. They said someone had access to my account. You need to transfer the money to a safe account. They gave me the number. Alarm bell should have gone off. I transferred the balance. And then I thought about it. It was too late. I felt sick. It wasn't the bank.
Banks will never call you and ask you to transfer money to another account.
You gotta hear those alarm bells.
A message from the Australian Banking Association.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. People buy a solar system to save money and do the right thing by the environment. So why would you buy a battery? Well, people buy a battery because they want independence from the grid. They don't want to be inconvenienced in the event of a blackout, and of course, protect themselves from future power rises. Now, electricity is going up, so whatever your needs are regarding solar and battery storage, you can rely on NRG Solar for the right solution. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Hurry into Ranella Mazda. We're stocked with CX-5 and CX-9 ready for immediate delivery. No reasonable offer will be refused. CX-5 and CX-9 stock must be cleared. Just 25 minutes from the CBD. Only at Ranella Mazda. LVD 152780.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers are 19 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. Australia is launching a world-first crackdown on vapes in the biggest smoking reform seen in a decade. Under the $234 million plan, disposable vapes will be banned and products will require plain packaging with warning labels. Cancer Council Chairwoman Anita Desai is backing the government's plan.
These products have blatantly been marketed to the most vulnerable members of our community, to our kids, to adolescents, to young adults. They're brightly coloured, they come in flavours that are fruit or candy flavoured. These products were meant to be designed on medical prescription for those smokers who were struggling to quit.
It will still be legal to buy vapes with nicotine with a prescription. The job seeker rate may increase for the long-term unemployed who are aged over 55. The federal government is under pressure to increase the benefit from both welfare and business groups. The opposition says it'll comment on the issue once the detail is released in next Tuesday's budget. But Liberal leader Peter Dutton says the government should bring back programs like Work for the Dole.
The benefit that you reap from a program like Work for the Dole means that it provides an incentive for people to move off the dole into work, which is a better life for them.
The state road toll for the year has risen to 48. A woman has died after being hit by a bus in the city. The 68-year-old from WA was struck on Grenfell Street around 7:30 last night. She passed away at the scene. A $50,000 bonus will be offered to some defence personnel to help boost staff numbers. Zach De Silva has the details.
A major report has found the Defence Force has a worker problem. New figures from the federal government show in the last decade as few as 3,000 people have joined the military. Many more staff will soon be required as Australia invests in new defence technologies, including nuclear-powered submarines. Current personnel will be offered $50,000 if they agree to stay on for another 3 years at the end of their initial service period. The program will cost the budget $400 million.
Secret wargaming exercises have found the ADF would struggle against any Chinese incursion. The Age is reporting the scenario looked at China establishing a military base in a nearby Pacific island nation. A base on the Solomon Islands or Vanuatu would bring the Chinese military within 2,000 kilometres of the Australian mainland. The analysis found the ADF would be unable to repel any such incursion. Hundreds have been arrested and scores of police injured in the latest protest in France about changes to retirement laws. Brett McLeod has more.
The May Day demonstration saw hundreds of thousands take to the streets across France. Police in Paris using water cannon and tear gas on protesters, while in the western city of Nantes, cars and bikes were set on fire, as was the front of buildings. Police say at least 108 of their own were injured and more than 290 people arrested. The protests have taken on a life of their own, even after the laws have been passed. The government blames violent thugs for causing most of the mayhem.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with football. Incoming AFL CEO Andrew Dillon says he would entertain the idea of a mid-season trade period. It's something that has been talked about for a few years, and he told Rowie and Timmy G it's worth exploring further.
A mid-season trade period is something that we certainly have been looking at and will continue to look at, and we're having discussions with the Players Association about that. I think one of the things that we would want to do if we did bring in that is just making sure there aren't any unintended consequences, because what we want from that trade period is to make sure that clubs can continue and remain competitive.
Dillon will take over in the CEO role officially in early October. Meantime, Essendon's Sam Durham has been issued with a one-game ban over a dangerous tackle, ruling him out of Sunday's clash against Port Adelaide. Durham is charged with rough conduct on Geelong's Mark Blixavs. Adelaide United will host its best and fairest tonight ahead of Friday night's elimination final against Wellington at home. Craig Goodwin is the favourite to win back-to-back Aurelio Vidmar awards, which would make him the first player in the club's history to win 3 overall. The Reds must win to keep their season alive after slipping to third after the end of the regular season. One game in the English Premier League this morning, Leicester and Everton playing out a 2-2 draw. And after securing promotion back to the English Premier League, Burnley has acquired a new investment. Former NFL star JJ Watt and his wife are buying into the club. To cricket, Josh Hazlewood and Glenn Maxwell have taken bragging rights over Marcus Stoinis in the IPL. Hazlewood took 2 wickets as the Royal Challengers Bangalore defeated the Lucknow Super Giants by 18 runs. And Rugby Australia is searching for a new Chief Executive Officer after Andy Marinos handed in his resignation. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
At Mitchell Park, got residual delays from an earlier crash on Marion Road near the Dawes Road intersection. That's as you're heading inbound. Busy at the moment, South Road at Cross Road, also Paynham Road at Florence Street. Got a lane out of action at Munopara this morning, making a pretty slow going Main North Road near Mile Avenue, speeds at 40. And cameras out about early today. You'll find one Sturt Road, Brighton, and the parade at Roslyn Park. This May, Pop Jane T-Marts have great buy 3, get 1 free, plus instant cashback deals with 15 stores located in Adelaide. They'll look after you. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast, 19 with showers for your Tuesday. Showers easing tomorrow, 18. Thursday a shower or 2, 18 as well. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Two big police crays in the square down there waiting for us. Not to arrest us. No. Well, certainly not me. I don't know what your backstory is, Penberthy. But
I won't be jaywalking.
Yeah, I hope that police officer's not down there. We're going to be meeting the horses, and you can watch it all live on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream in the next 15 minutes.
This is going to be a lot of fun. They're wonderful animals, aren't they? The police greys.
They're great.
They've got the most remarkable temperament, given what they do. You know, crowds and, people New Year's Eve all out on the gas, carrying on.
People banging past them, and they seem to be unfazed. So we're going to go down and meet. Well, one of them we know is called Grantley, in honour of Grant Stevens. So looking forward to that story being told in full as well in a few moments' time. First, though, it's time for Breaking It Up.
Well, finally, some resolution beckons for the long-suffering family of Anna Jenkins, who, of course, is the Adelaide mother, a devoutly religious woman who, through no fault of her own, came to grief in a suspected robbery/murder in Penang back in 2017. As you well know, because we've had her son Greg on the show several times, he has made repeated trips up to Malaysia to get to the bottom of what happened to his mum. And over the last sort of 6 to 8 months, there's been this protracted, drawn-out coronial inquest, which has had so many sort of false starts and false leads and false promises. It's been beset by delays, rescheduling issues. Only a couple of weeks ago I was talking to Greg, and he said that at the last minute they were talking about the DPP that had been giving evidence in the case was suddenly going to be unavailable. Then there was speculation that when the findings are brought down, they weren't going to be done in open court. Rather, the family were going to have to get some sort of DVD recording of it later, which is a completely absurd set of circumstances. Well, the good news is that in the last day, Greg has had confirmation that the findings will be brought down in open court, meaning that his sister Jen, if she's able to travel up there, and their many supporters will be able to attend. It's scheduled for Friday week, May the 12th. And given the fraught history of the whole coronial process, it's probably realistic to say that the family is not expecting too much from the court, because some of the harrowing details about the discovery of his mum's remains, then the loss or the deliberate hiding of some of them, all of it stemming from this sense that there's a level of embarrassment about the fact that this poor Adelaide grandmother's remains were found at the site of this very plush and hugely expensive condominium development. The whole thing's as murky as, but at the very least, the findings will be brought down in open court Friday week in Penang, and we'll be checking in with Greg after that to see if the family feels that there has been any sort of positive resolution to come from this fraught process.
Coming up to 11 minutes after 8, Fuel Watch, thanks to the excellent My RAA app that you can download for free right now, and you can find the cheapest fuel spots in an instant. We reported earlier, had some people that were driving in telling us that there were some outlets that have jumped up to the $2 mark, even in the high sort of getting up towards $2.10 sort of range in some areas. But it feels like we're on the cusp of a big change, because there are still a heap that are in the $1.60 range. So you can get petrol cheap, and it's probably a good idea to do so if you're driving past a place like the Ampol North East Road, Holden Hills, $1.67.5. The OTR Seacombe Road, Seaview Downs, $1.67.5. The Ampol South Road, Wingfield, $1.65.9. The cheapest diesels, the BP Grand Junction Road, Jeps Cross, $1.71.5. A few texts coming in on the Dutton's text line, 0480 08 1395. 3 dealerships, 10 franchises in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. Dutton's easy to do business with.
One here, dear 5AA Breakfast. As a monarchist, I am privileged to be here to see a coronation in my lifetime. I care. Having said that, I am not happy with the, quote, taking the mickey out of all things royal. If you were to do this to other traditions that are here for everyone to see, you would be on the front page. Please leave them alone. Thank you for that. Ray, hi guys, I'm excited for the people of the UK. At least they're excited about something. What would excite or unite those numbers in Australia to celebrate anything? We're even looking at having to recruit foreigners to make up numbers for our defence forces. Sounds like a united country. Not really. We're too busy dividing us on so many issues. Thank you for that, Ray. One thing I do think, like, even though I'm a Republican just as a matter of default, because I just think that the system of rewarding people on the basis of birthright rather than capacity and the fact that they've got some sort of electoral mandate is absurd. But to Ray's point, if we do become a republic, and you look at our capacity for sort of showiness on the left, and our capacity for hysterical overstatement on the right. I mean, look at The Voice right now. You've got a lot of left-wingers saying, if you don't vote for this, you must be some sort of racist pig. But then I think you've got a few Chicken Little conservatives who seem to be trying to run this argument that if we do have something as modest as this advisory body telling Parliament what to do, that's basically the end of democracy as we know it.
Yes, that seems to be the two positions.
Yeah, I don't agree with either of those assertions. So to Ray's point, so all right, yes, us Republicans, we might go, we need to become a republic. What does that look like, though?
There's no good version that anyone's been able to come up with of what that looks like.
And it'll be a rerun of a lot of the snobs arguments too, like, Turnbull back in the day, called John Howard the man who broke the nation's heart, and people saying, and we've heard this with The Voice, the world is watching us. Like the world was watching us in 99. The world didn't give a toss.
No.
Do you reckon they were talking about it in Kuala Lumpur? No. I see they got the Republic referendum in Australia on the weekend. I'll be paying close attention to that one.
No, I don't think it featured.
So, and then we'll have this argument about, do we get some lovey as our head of state, or then conversely, if the Conservatives
become political, that's the brilliance.
They'd be pushing for like a retired general.
But it is the strength of hereditary rule, isn't it? It removes the politics. It just is. It just is. And maybe there's some stability in that we underrate.
Yeah. Tell us what you think, folks.
8223 text us on the Duttons text line. We've got to see a man about a horse.
We do.
2 horses, in fact. They're down in Highmarsh Square behind us. The police greys will be down there, and you can watch along live on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream right after this.
At Mitchell Park, still got some residual delays from an earlier crash on Marine Road near the Dawes Road intersection. That's as you're heading inbound. Busy at the moment, Green Hill Road at Anzac Highway, also South Road at Cross Road. Got a lane out of action at Hilton this morning, so Donald Bradman Drive near Pearson Street, speeds of 25, with cameras McGill Road, McGill, and Osmond Terrace at Norwood. Enjoy no join fees and memberships from only $7.99 per week at Zap Fitness. Limited time only. Visit zapfitness.com.au. T's and C's apply. Available on select memberships. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA. At Mitchell Park, still got some residual delays from an earlier crash on Marine Road near the Dawes Road intersection. That's as you're heading inbound. Busy at the moment, Green Hill Road at Anzac Highway, also South Road at Cross Road. Got a lane out of action at Hilton this morning, so Donald Bradman Drive near Pearson Street, speeds of 25, with cameras McGill Road, McGill, and Osmond Terrace at Norwood. Enjoy no join fees and memberships from only $7.99 per week at Zap Fitness. Limited time only. Visit zapfitness.com.au. T's and C's apply. Available on select memberships. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
I'm not going to say the Crows coaches lost that game, but they didn't help them win it. But the thing for me is this, the glass for me is half full. If you'd have said to me, round 7, you'd challenge the best team, that you go toe-to-toe with them, and you can put your best brand of footy against them and challenge them, I'm wrapped.
Rowie and Timmy G.
Optimistic about the future.
We play Port tomorrow, you lose by 5.
Oh, here we go. You're going really well right up until then.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
It's time to raise the bar. If you're organising an event, anything from a small meeting to a grand gala, you'll know there are many things to consider. So trust the experts at Adelaide Convention Centre to help you elevate your vision. With the support from our team at every stage, you'll be amazed at what can happen in turning each aspect into an unforgettable experience for both you and your guests. Contact our team and discover the magic to elevate your vision at Adelaide Convention Centre.
When elite athletes retire, they can find themselves lost for a purpose. Like Tim Ginniver.
Hey, cut it out.
The team at Greyhounds as Pets find former stars of the track a cosy home for them to put their feet up and enjoy retirement.
Now that sounds pretty good to me.
They're typically placid creatures in their later years.
Mate, I can still kick a footy.
And all are house-trained.
No comment.
For more info, visit the Greyhounds as Pets website.
The all-new Nissan Qashqai has been awarded the 2023 Drive Car of the Year Best Small SUV. And with Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses, you can drive the award-winning Nissan Qashqai ST for competitive weekly repayments that include the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
So you've heard about Call Me Continence products, yeah?
Of course.
Well, they reckon they're softer too.
What's softer than an Angora rabbit?
Yeah.
Softer than an Angora rabbit wearing a cashmere sweater?
Yes.
Softer than an Angora rabbit wearing a cashmere sweater laying on a feather bed?
Yes. Softer than even that.
And if you're on a home care package or an NDIS participant, Call Me will give you a free trial pack worth up to $100.
Oh.
Just go to callme.com.au.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
Level 4 in High Marsh Square, down into the square proper. And what's it got to be said is it's a beautiful morning. It's clear, it's cool, it's crisp. Our backdrop is unique, though, because we're standing in front of 2 of the police greys. One of them, next to you, David, is the namesake of the Commissioner. It's Police Horse Grantley there. Kellyanne Taylor from Mounted Ops is down here with us as well. So we wanted to talk about these magnificent horses. We've chatted with the dog squad before about the training and everything people need to know about them. I can, from this position where we're standing, the great temptation is to pat these horses because they're just magnificent looking animals, but that's obviously a problem, isn't it?
Look, we invite the public to come up to us. As far as a public relations tool, they are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It encourages people, the community, to interact with police. What we do ask, though, is for them to ask permission. Sometimes we're busy dealing with other people. They're doing different tasks, so 9 times out of 10, more than happy for people to come up, get our photo, ask questions. We just ask that they just ask permission first, so yeah.
So Kelly, in terms of the type of training that the horses have, how do you stop them from taking fright, being scared of... I mean, here in High Marsh Square now, it's a busy morning here in the city. There's lots of cars going past and... You know, this horse has got 2 half-wits wearing headphones, standing in front of it, talking loudly, waving microphones around. How do they remain so relaxed?
It's all to do with our training. We do select for temperament, so it is part of their breeding, and it's one of the selection aspects and criteria that we do actually vie for initially. But really, it comes down to our training. Horses are naturally a flight animal. They want to run away from things that they don't like or which scares them, so we actually have to undertake a lot of training to overcome that fear and build that trust through positive reinforcement to then be able to do what they do so wonderfully.
You said it's sort of a PR and a community engagement type thing, but do they also have a frontline policing role? I mean, say hypothetically we had, I don't know, like a rerun of the moratorium protests of the late 60s, early 70s, or, you know, Davos came to town and the anti-G20 lunatics were out there lying on the roads, tipping cars over. Do the horses come out and clock on?
90% of our work is operational. If anyone or your listeners are out on Hindley Street at 2 o'clock in the morning, you'll see these police greys. Predominantly we're in the CBD, but we do obviously patrol throughout the state. So very heavy operational focus. We do have a public disorder focus as well, so they wear special equipment for public order, for protests and large crowd demonstrations as well. And they do perform a search and rescue function as well. So they're deployed over to the state. They can travel vast distances in a short amount of time, and they can go for longer to search for missing people and for evidence related to crimes from major crime or other areas of SAPOL. So very effective tool.
What's the philosophy behind why horses are so effective in dealing with crowds of people?
Obviously their size.
So it's just they're a bit intimidating?
They've got a lot of strength about them. The rider sits about 3 metres from the ground, so we can easily look over crowds, vehicles and see long distances, whereas at our level it's a bit harder. Police Horse Grantley here, he weighs in at 770 kilos. Oh. So you could imagine there's not one person that's going to be able to push him over. And we say that one horse is the equivalent to about 8 to 10 people on foot. So they're trained to be able to go through crowds and move about carefully.
He's agreeing with you there.
Yeah,
nodding.
Yeah. He knows how big they are. Yeah, and he knows how effective he is. So yeah.
So can we talk about Grantley, because I think the story that piqued our interest most with the Mounted Ops unit was the fact that you did have a horse that shares a name with the police commissioner. Entirely accidental? Was it a tribute? Did someone lose a bet? What happened there?
Look, I think, to be honest, it was a great strategic move on our behalf. We actually have a book that dates back to the early 1900s where we record all the police horses that the Mounted Operation Unit have had. We've looked through that and we've realised not one horse has been named after a serving police commissioner. So Grantley here was coming up. We needed a name that started with G. So we put forward a proposal to name it after our commissioner, Grant Stevens. So he did say yes, thankfully. And we hope he was very humbled by it, because from our point of view, we do feel it's a great privilege.
So they're just beautiful animals. David was having a bit of a sidebar conversation with Grantley just then, maybe getting a scoop or something for a breaking at 8.
I was going to ask you where the location for the new headquarters is going to be. We did do a breaking at it about that the other day.
Police Horse Grantley, all about that. I'm sure we'll be able to give you all the details.
So as people,
you're a lot braver than we are. We haven't got any pets upstairs named Rupert.
I'm leaving that one right alone, David. Thank you very much. If you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, we see the beautiful horses behind us. How old are they and how long will they be in service for?
Grantley here is 8 and Flinders here is 9 years old. We acquire them between 3-4 years of age generally, and they'll patrol up till 20 years of age. So it's actually quite a long lifespan that we have with our police horses, but they are very well cared for, and as such they do us a long service, which we're very grateful for.
Well, look, it's been fantastic being here with you today. This is the wildest interview we've ever done, the craziest location. Great to meet you, and also you Flinders and you Grantley. And yeah, we can't wait to talk to Grantley's namesake about this, but you know, you do an amazing job and they're such beautiful animals. It's really lovely being out here in the square with you today.
We'd like to think he's got some similarities with our police commissioner, so yeah, no doubt it'll be
please feel free to expand.
Well, both grey hair, obviously, so yeah.
I think you were referring to his easygoing temperament.
Yeah.
And laid-back attitude. Yeah,
that's right.
Excellent. Kellyanne, thank you so much. We really appreciate you bringing both Grantley and Flinders down here to say hi to us and get a close-up look at these the excellent police horses that are doing wonderful, wonderful work. Geez, they're well behaved too, aren't they?
They are. Better than us. Good on you, Kellyanne. It was great fun. Thank you.
All right, we might take a quick break, get our way back up to the studio, because right after 5AA News in a couple of moments' time, we're going to get into this question about the changes that will take place 7 days' time in the federal budget with regard to the dole payments for people aged explicitly over the age of 55. This is something that came out in 7 News last night. Details scarce, but we'll talk about how it might be targeted and what the reasoning behind that specific age group being highlighted in next week's federal budget. That's coming up right after 5AA News.
A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed.
As a person with disability, are you happy with the support you are receiving? Are you looking for a provider that works with you on your terms? Do you want someone that is there when you need them, for support as individual as you are? Whether it's in your home or in the community, Innovative Support Australia is here to support you, your way. If you or someone you know is ready for something new, find us at isaust.com.au.
Solar Heart has been helping smart Aussies turn sunshine into hot water for 70 years. From our reliable rooftop models to sleek split systems and smart tanks that talk to your solar panels. No one knows more about solar hot water than Solar Heart. And right now, you'll get a $500 trade-in when you upgrade to one of Solar Heart's energy-saving water heaters. So if you want to lower your energy bills and your emissions, get smart. Get Solar Heart. Terms and conditions apply.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. More and more South Australians are taking control of their energy bills with solar and battery storage. In fact, Australians are taking up battery storage in record numbers because they're sick of rising power bills and being locked into a system where someone else calls the shots. The other huge bonus of going with NRG solar and battery storage is that you'll be protected from blackouts with an uninterrupted power supply. Take control. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Always expect the best from Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of designer appliances, which means right now you'll save up to 15% on Falcon upright cookers, plus receive a special 10-year warranty for this month only. Also this month, Miele are offering a 10-year warranty. That's a 10-year warranty on Miele this month only. We can also arrange delivery, installation and removal of your old appliance. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of designer appliances, Payneham Road, St Peters. T's and C's apply.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers are 19 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. Alan Joyce's successor at Qantas has been announced. Vanessa Hudson will be the next chief executive when he retires in November. She's worked as the airline's chief financial officer since 2019. She'll be Qantas's 13th CEO in 103 years. A woman has died in the city after being hit by a bus. Senior Constable Peter Williams says it happened last night.
Just after 7:30, police and emergency services responded to reports of a crash between a bus and a pedestrian on Grenfell Street in the city. Sadly, the pedestrian, a woman aged 68 from Western Australia, died at the scene.
Grenfell Street was closed for several hours but has since reopened. The woman's death is the 48th life lost on SA roads, compared to 26 at the same time last year. Some experts believe the Reserve Bank will raise interest rates again at today's board meeting. The latest figures show inflation has dropped, but the decrease wasn't as sharp as many analysts were expecting. CommSec Chief Economist Craig James says if the RBA does hike the cash rate, he's expecting it to be the last increase for some time.
Our leaning is that the Reserve Bank will hike rates one more time by 0.25%, effectively to try and to get a little bit more momentum in terms of that easing of inflation rates.
More than $200 million will be allocated in next Tuesday's budget to crack down on vaping. Michael Packey reports.
The Albanese government is proposing to strengthen laws on all e-cigarettes, imposing new controls on their importation, contents and packaging. The Commonwealth will work with the states and territories to stamp out vaping. Health data suggests people who vape are 3 times more likely to take up smoking. One proposal to tackle the issue: vapes may soon be banned from retail outlets such as convenience stores. People would still be able to buy low nicotine vapes for therapeutic purposes, but only if they're prescribed by a doctor.
The majority of us believe more infrastructure is needed to keep up with the intake of new migrants. More than 700,000 people are expected to enter the country in the next 2 years. An Institute of Public Affairs survey shows 60% of people believe we should pause the intake until more hospitals, houses and roads are built. Well, the Who's Who is walking the red carpet at the Met Ball in New York this morning. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are there, as well as fellow Aussie Baz Luhrmann. This year's theme is Karl Lagerfeld, the filmmaker paying tribute to the late fashion giant.
We worked with him twice. We started 21 years ago. Honestly, to be around Karl was to be around energy and creativity. And, we like to think we have a bit of creative energy. He's just on another level. This year we're celebrating the genius and the friendship of Karl Lagerfeld.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
And with everything footy, it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yes, let's begin there. Former Hawthorn President Jeff Kennedy is calling on Gil McLachlan to leave his post as soon as possible to give Andrew Dillon clean air as the new AFL CEO. Meantime, AFL great Matthew Lloyd believes Ben Mackay will surely leave North Melbourne at season's end due to the club's poor run of form. The 25-year-old key defender could become one of the AFL's most sought-after free agents at season's end, and Lloyd has told Footy Classified he thinks Mackay would have had enough of losing.
And they got 2 wins and then it's just been 5 smackings, and some of the records, like I was looking at Ben Mackay and will he stay or will he go? He's won 7 games from 55. Wow. 7 wins and 48 losses. And when you've got a decision to make, surely he goes and says, I can't do this anymore.
Let's go to soccer. Everton has claimed a crucial point in its English Premier League clash against Leicester this morning. Trailing 2-1 at half-time, the Toffees claimed an equaliser early in the second half.
Feeds it in again towards Calvert-Lewin. Drops for it, won't be! Finds the bottom corner, and Everton are level. They've come out strong at the start of the second half and got due reward.
Audio there thanks to Optus. The result still leaves Everton in the relegation zone, although they're only 1 point away from safety. Meantime, Matilda stars Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford have had their Champions League dreams crushed after Arsenal went down 3-2 to Wolfsburg, missing out on a place in the final. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
Getting busy in the usual spots this morning, including Main North Road at Enfield, also Green Hill Road at Anzac Highway, and South Road at Crossroad quite busy too. Got a lane closed at Munno Para. It's pretty slow at the moment. Main North Road near Mile Avenue, speeds at 40 k's. And look out for cameras this morning, George Street, Norwood, and Ocean Boulevard at Seacliff Park. Did you know it took 21 attempts to create Guzmán Gomez perfectly crunchy corn chips, which are made fresh in store every day? Look up hashtag GYG Did You Know for more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast. Showers 19 today, showers easing tomorrow 18, Thursday a shower or two 18 and Friday 20. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Australia's greatest sporting rivalry is back with the 2023 Ampol State of Origin Series. Witness the game's best players square off in the ultimate fight for state pride as two of the greatest coaches, Freddie Fittler and Billy Slater, go head-to-head. The Maroons' dominant performance last year saw them reclaim the Shield, so the Blues will be out to deny Queensland another series win. Ampol State of Origin kicks off Wednesday, May 31 at Adelaide Oval. Unreal. Secure your seats today at nrl.com/tickets.
Now, this is always interesting. South Australia's History Festival is here and it's running throughout May.
Over 500 events are being held right across the state by History Trust of South Australia around this year's theme of wonder.
From guided tours to gardening, architecture, art or ancient wines, whether you're a history enthusiast or just looking for an interesting day out, the festival has got something for everybody.
You can learn about the talks, tours, exhibitions, dinners, dances, wine tasting and much more when you pick up your copy of the program from Foodland supermarkets across the state.
Or you can plan your month online. Just check out the digital program at festival.history.sa.gov.au.
The 2023 History Festival, past, present, wonder, running all May.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Test drive the incredible Cherry Emotive 5 today at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away. Go Cherry.
23 minutes to 9. Well, whilst we were down in Hindmarsh Square talking with police horses and the mounted ops unit from SAPOL, the world kept chugging away, and there is some breaking news from Qantas where the replacement for Alan Joyce has been announced. He will depart the role November of this year. His replacement will be very, very close to home. He's CFO. The current CFO, Vanessa Hudson, will take over the role and become the first female CEO of Qantas, effective November this year. So massive announcement.
Well, there goes my cockamamie Gil McLaughlin theory.
It was a good theory
yesterday. Yeah,
it was a good. You were joining the Richard Goyder dots and the
didn't realise that the deal had already been done. So Alan Joyce, he's not being pushed aside. He's retiring. He's just simply hanging up his shingle, retiring to his modest house in Mosman on the Sydney Harbour.
How would you describe Mosman to people who don't know Sydney?
Oh, like Burnside on steroids times by 1 billion. Probably the most expensive parcel of real estate in Australia. I think it was the first place in Australia where the median house price cracked $1 million way back in about 1994.
I wonder what the median is now. Oh. Well, Alan Joyce is only 56 years old, so he's got some working life ahead of him if he wants it.
Is he that young?
He probably wouldn't need it. That said, he would qualify for what 7 News revealed last night as an increase to job seeker for people aged over the age of 55. That will affect 227,000 Australians. The backdrop to this, of course, were people advocating for a $100 a week change across the spectrum for people on job seeker. However, it sounds like the federal government are going to announce a more limited increase for people aged over the age of 55. The justification for this is that this is the group of people that are most likely to be long-term unemployed, meaning without a job for 5 years. The majority of that group too are women. We wanted to chat with Ian Henschke, from National Seniors Australia, who joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Ian, the details are scarce because obviously we're a week out from the federal budget, but conceptually, you must welcome the news.
Oh, yes, more than conceptually, I welcome it for all those people that are struggling between 55 and 64, which before the pandemic came along was the largest cohort of unemployed people, not the youth. It was, and a lot of people were very surprised by that. I mean, you're talking about almost a couple 100,000 people in that category. And 20 years ago, now this is a quote directly from Mark Butler's speech he gave for the Hugh Stretton oration last week. 20 years ago, people 55 to 64 accounted for a tad more than 1 in 10 people in long-term unemployment. Today, it's nearly 1 in 5. So you know, that's 20% of our long-term unemployed are 55 to 64.
Why has it gotten worse?
Well, I think it's ageism. You know, there's all these people that bump people out. They say, right, you know, it's time to get out. You know, I mean, even the state government here a few years back was giving people bonuses if they left the government. Remember, they used to try and get them to get out of work. You know, well, see, this is what happens. You see, and obviously also you've got that other thing about people caring. You know, the fact that there are women in this category. Many of them care for. They're younger than their partners, so often their partners get sick. They care for them, and then they care for their parents. So, you know, they drop out of the workforce and then they have trouble getting back into it because people are ageist when they employ people. So I think it's a good move, but the main thing I would love to see in the government is the thing we've been calling for, which is actually let people who are on a pension work more, because when you do get to pension age, you're still struggling.
Yeah.
At the moment, you can only work 1 day a week. And, of course, the other thing, which the state government previously had in play here, was a mature age traineeship, where they were giving older women in particular the opportunity to work and get trained in jobs and guaranteeing them a job at the end of it. Now, that was called the Mature Age Traineeship Program in Home Care and Aged Care, and it was a pilot program that Mr. Pizzoni, when he was Minister, rolled out, and it was very, very successful getting really good people to work in home and aged care. So we've said to the government, you need some training programs. This is a bit of just a lay down and let it happen. If you're just saying, all right, there's a big problem here, let's give them a little bit more money so they can have a little bit more while they're waiting for the pension effectively, which sounds terrible, really, doesn't it? You should have a training program for all these people.
Well, at a time when so many businesses are trying to fill jobs as well, anything that could get older people like that back into the workforce would be a good idea, I would have thought, Ian.
Well, the biggest area that we need workers is in the caring industries. We need, I think, 60,000 workers in the caring industry, and then the other one that's a huge one, of course, is hospitality. So we need a lot of people in those areas as well. I think about 100,000 around Australia. So if you look at South Australia, there's about 10% of the population of the nation, roughly. You've probably got 5,000 jobs in the caring industries. That's aged care, childcare, disability care, home care. Now, if you have training programs there, a lot of older women, as they said, are the ones that are suffering here, retrain them in childcare. But then you've got to actually have a certificate for that. So you need the training, and you should guarantee them of a job, and you should pay them while they're training. You can do that with home care, disability care. And this is the sort of thing where you have to look at it as a system-wide approach. You can't just say, oh, let the market sort itself out, because we've seen what happens when the market sorts itself out with aged care and home care and even childcare. There's a shortage of workers. So you do need stimulus programs, and the sort of thing that we were talking about before, the one that David Pizzoni had in South Australia, worked very well. They trained women, and one of them I actually met had been bounced out of a job at News Corp because they centralised their head office or whatever. I can't remember the details, but she had been caring at some stage for a family member. She went back and trained in as a home care worker, and she was apparently one of the most brilliant home care workers that the employer had ever seen. So, and it's going into people's homes, caring for people that might be losing their eyesight or something like that. It's a very different sort of work where you become friends and family effectively as a carer, and a lot of people find it very rewarding. And I'm suggesting to anyone out there who's in this category, 55 to 64, who has cared for someone, think about the caring industries, because they desperately need workers, and that's where older workers are viewed positively, not negatively.
Yeah,
It's great advice, Ian, and it's an interesting context around which to have this discussion around increasing the welfare payments for people aged over the age of 55. That will help, but so too will programs training people and getting them back into the workforce, which is where I'm guessing if you're in that age cohort, you'd really like to be. Ian Henschke from National Seniors Australia, thank you so much for joining us on 5AA Breakfast. Mentioned at our 7 o'clock news wrap, so much about the news cycle in this 24 hours is around money. Not sure if it's a Reserve Bank thing, but certainly the federal budget's playing into that. We've been talking about welfare increases for people aged over the age of 55. Yesterday on the program, you had a breaking at 8, David, around the cost of housing.
That extraordinary unit that sold $250,000 above reserve in Athelston.
So we've got this scenario where people are being priced out of the housing market, but then demand on rents is going through the roof as well as migration booms, and then people who would historically have bought are trying to rent, competing against this whole group of people who are getting squeezed out the end and unable to rent. J. Lee Cooper, who runs Catherine House, was listening into that breaking at 8 and called in and wanted to reflect on how it's affecting the people that Catherine House care for. J. Lee, great to speak to you again. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. How are we going?
We're good, thanks, J. Lee. So how is all of this sort of manifesting itself on the ground with the support you provide for women who are fleeing domestic violence?
Yeah, look, I was listening to the show yesterday and just nodding my head kind of, at everything that you were saying. I mean, for us, the reality is when there's not enough homes, then if you don't have a safe place to call home, then you become homeless. And that is what, Catherine House's core function is to supply, provide support for women who are experiencing homelessness. So for us, we are seeing a huge increase in the number of women that are contacting us for support because they cannot get a rental property. Like, they are completely priced out of the market, exactly like you were talking about yesterday. And it comes down to this whole supply and demand. So, from a service provider point of view, we are absolutely seeing that it's certainly impacting the number of women that are contacting our service. And, last year we had a 45% increase in the number of women who were contacting Catherine House. I actually hate to think what it might be at the end of this year.
Yeah, from just what you're hearing with the your fellow workers, Jaylee, do you have a sense that it's going to be higher?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's some different sort of scenarios that we're hearing, but a lot of the phone calls that we're getting for women are around the fact that they cannot find a rental property. So what's happening is the landlord is either selling the property because they can't afford it now because they've had so many rental rises, or when the tenants when their lease becomes due, they're ending it because they're then prioritising their own family who can't get a rental property and moving their families into it. So that's, a whole new dimension in terms of that's not something that was previously happening before. And then you've obviously got, people that own property that then have to increase the rent because they have had, rent increase, rate rises. So it's just it feels like it's coming from every different angle for people that are trying to get a rental property. And if you're someone that is certainly a low income earner, you're completely priced out of the rental market as it is. And then it's looking at, and for many of the women that come to Catherine House, it's then trying to work around, trying to get the women into social and community housing. Well, we know that there's, significant, lifts and significant waits around those sorts of times. So, look, it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge at the moment.
It's an important point to make, Jaylee, and we appreciate you making it. Always welcome on this program.
For sure.
For the wonderful work you guys do there at Catherine House. J. Cooper, our guest. On 8223 0000, William in Mount Barker's called in on this story. Morning to you, William.
Good morning, gentlemen. I won't take up too much of your time, but briefly, a house behind Mansfield Park. Well, I've got a property in Mansfield Park anyway, and the property behind mine, 400 square metre block, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, very small, $715,000 2 months ago.
Wow. Yeah. Staggering, isn't it?
So bear in mind, that area, 10 years ago, houses were going for $90,000 in that area.
Yeah, I know. That is just outrageous. William, thank you.
Well, some of the house prices in like Salisbury North, which is, like good knockabout part of South Australia, not exactly Victoria Avenue, Hyde Park, though. Houses there have gone up $100,000 in the last year.
It seems we're at the point of the conversation cycle where I think universally everyone recognises we've got a problem now. We don't feel we're very well advanced down the path to solving it though.
No,
because it will require massive structural change, or it requires things that are really unpopular, like high density living.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? When we've got people say, "Well, we need more housing, except not in my
not in my suburb,
not down the corner from where I live."
It becomes political and it becomes intractable, and then nothing changes, and we've got a generational problem. 11 to 9, we're going to check traffic and come back with Lucy, who, in honour of the Coronation this week, the movie bowl was a royal one, and she reviewed the King's Speech. That's coming up in just a moment.
At St Agnes, urgent civil works North East Road near Tolley Road. Busy in a few spots, including Richmond Road at Marion Road, also South Road at Cross Road. Got work slowing things up at Tennyson today. Got lane closed there. Military Road near Trimmer Parade. Got speeds at 40 with cameras Adelaide Terrace, Edwards Town and Raglan Avenue at South Blinton. Celebrating a special occasion, head to Moonpig for a wide selection of funny, heartwarming and personalised cards. Download the app or visit moonpig.com/au and spread the joy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA Mornings today, the federal government to spend over $200 million cracking down on the retail sales of vapes and tobacco. And interest rates. Could the Reserve Bank push them up again today? Those stories and more from 9. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company then.
Go Vita, your local health food shops. Over 30 years health and wellness experience and over 300 natural health practitioners specialising in you.
Hi, I'm Wayne from Go Vita Mount Barker. This month we have a great offer on Fusion Astra 8 with astragalus, are traditional ingredients in Chinese medicine. Save up to 35% off 60 tablets, now $33.95, and 200ml liquid, only $37.95. Always read the label, follow directions for use.
Go Vita, Colonnades, Fairview Green, Marion, Mount Barker, Monopara, Semaphore and Tanunda.
The all-new Nissan Qashqai has been awarded the 2023 Drive Car of the Year Best Small SUV. And with Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses, you can drive the award-winning Nissan Qashqai ST for competitive weekly repayments that include the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Don't let the name fool you. Adelaide Direct Stationers might be all Adelaide and very direct, but they're much more than just stationery.
They're a through and through South Australian owned and operated family business serving our largest businesses for over 25 years.
And they're one of South Australia's largest suppliers of tech products, washroom products, PPE, workplace health and safety equipment, office furniture, food, snacks, beverages and so much more.
Whatever you need, they've got it, and they'll get it to you faster than you can say please with same-day, 2-hour express delivery. That's extraordinary. Let me say that again. Same-day, 2-hour express delivery.
And look, you can find it all on their website. Head online to browse over 30,000 products and get them delivered quick as a flash.
Visit AdelaideDirectStationers.com.au.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The Cherry Motor 5 offers state-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
The movie bowl back, had a hiatus with Lucy being of ill health, but she's back on deck, fighting fit, ready to review the movies. Thanks to the wonderful people at Wallace Cinemas who are on board with the movie bowl. Movies are better on the big screens at Wallace Cinemas, Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and Piccadilly. Wallace.com.au. Morning to you, Luce.
Good morning. I've happily parked the 8:20 review because the police horse was just the best day of my life.
You got dressed up for it too.
You did.
Joined with when we had police dog Chester come in studio.
That was pretty good too.
You came in looking like you're off to the gymkhana.
If only I had some jodhpurs.
Do the police have any other animals, or have we done it?
Oh, I floated many idea with the cops downstairs.
Okay.
I don't want to reveal our secrets, but there are things in the works.
Oh.
No other animals yet, but other projects. Anyway, I'm really glad that Wallace has jumped on board, especially because they've jumped on board the week that the King's speech, of course, would have been in Wallace. So I wish I'd gone and seen it on the big screen because the new Wallace Piccadilly cinemas are excellent. And given the King's coronation, this movie would have been perfect to go sit in the cinema with. But I will get underway with my review. It was stellar work by Colin Firth, who does depict the eventual king. Colin Firth, I find, usually plays sort of a haphazard kind of a character in all these films, but in this he really shone as a more serious man. His stammer I found quite emotive and realistic. I got a bit emotional thinking about how a stammer in real life would affect someone. He did work really well with, of course, our own Geoffrey Rush, who was excellent. The movie itself was a bit slow, went for 2 hours and took a little bit to get going, but the royal sentiment was there. The historical depictions I thought were quite interesting. I'm giving it 3 stars overall.
Okay.
3 stars.
3 stars. It's a solid Lucy score, 3 stars.
That's a good score
The
from
film I've picked is when he goes, so Colin Firth's wife, Her Majesty, goes to pick a speech therapist for him, and they land on Geoffrey Rush, the Aussie character. His name is Lionel Logue, who hasn't been officially trained, but this is when Colin Firth, the would-be king, goes to Lionel Logue's first appointment.
Aren't you going to start treating me, Dr. Logue?
Only if you're interested in being treated. Please. Call me Lionel.
No. I prefer Doctor.
I prefer Lionel. What'll I call you?
Your Royal Highness. then Sir, after that.
It's a little bit formal for here. I prefer names.
Prince Albert, Frederick, Arthur, George.
How about Bertie?
Only my family uses that.
Perfect. In here, it's better if we're equals.
Bertie. So they called each other Logue and Bertie.
The relationship's
for
a
the
nice
rest of the life.
proxy for a discussion that we've sort of been inadvertently having on the text line with listeners over the course of this week. The relationship between Australia and the monarchy. It's those two guys. It's that exchange right there where there's mutual respect, but they're coming from different worlds. And then they probably need one another as well, and they've got to find a common language because it's not necessarily culturally a natural fit. I just think it's a nice proxy for the issues we have, because some of our listeners find the fun and mucking around flippant. Others think the formality and stuffiness of it is just not appropriate for an Australian audience. That's what the king, the would-be king, and Lionel Logue had.
I'm excited to see the coronation, and this film, the notion that we now have a king, that kind of excited me. It is history. I probably will watch a bit of it this weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
There's fewer than 50,000 people in Australia that were alive to see a king ever be coronated. It's a precious few people.
I had a weird encounter with a dentist a couple of years ago who was excellent work. No, Liz just up and left. Well done, Liz. 3 stars. Yeah. At the dentist a couple of years ago, this English woman who I'd never seen before was briefly working at the clinic, and when I went in to just have a checkup, I said, "I haven't met before." I said, "What was your name again?" She said, "Dr. Smith," in this very sort of toffee voice, "Dr. Smith." And I said, "Oh, that's right." And she said, "Oh, if you're more informal, Dr. Jen." Oh, I thought, well, really emphasising the "I am a doctor" element of this, but I just thought it was really not a very Australian way of going about it.
All right, let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight, Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind
13.95, Adelaide's 5AA. This is the Saturday Sports Show. KG and Cornsey.
Hi folks, welcome to the Saturday Sports Show. Graham Corns with you and the great KG Cunningham.
No, not great, just KG stud. Come on, stud.
Well, what a game it was last night.
Woohoo! What a game. Port Adelaide, yes.
Port undermanned and not a particularly high-scoring game, but a good win for them.
They are 5-2, stud. 5-2.
Yes.
5-2.
Yes, it was a great game.
And what about Jason Horne-Francis?
Yes.
Can that kid play or what?
Yes, you do hesitate to talk about how good he is because you risk him becoming more and more of a target. Again, idiots in the crowd booing him.
They were, yes, idiots.
The St Kilda crowd, so it didn't make a lot of sense.
Can I ask you, Studley, why were they booing him? What was their reason for booing a 19-year-old kid? Why were they doing it? Let me ask you that question, Studley.
Well,
why were they booing Jason Horne-Francis?
I don't think they knew why.
Well, what are they, morons?
Probably.
Idiots.
Yes, just lemmings.
What?
They were behaving like lemmings.
What's lemmings?
Don't you know what a lemming is?
I have never heard that word before. Lemmings?
They're small rodent-like animals that blindly follow other lemmings and do whatever they do.
Oh, God, it's a new word every week. Now, lemmings...
They jump off cliffs.
Why do they do that?
Because they follow each other.
But why did the first lemming jump off the cliff? Why didn't he say, no, I'd rather not do that? And then the other lemmings wouldn't have started booing Jason Horne-Francis.
No.
I still don't know what a lemming is, but I think they should be banned from going to football.
Don't you remember the video game Lemmings? It was very big in the 90s.
No, I've never heard of lemmings, Studley.
You had to stop the lemmings from jumping off cliffs and jumping into molten lava.
Oh, I'm with you. So you stop them from jumping off cliffs?
Yes.
And molten lava?
That's right.
And where does the football come into it?
Matthew Pantelis is coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we believe you shouldn't settle for anything. You